Are we muted? Are we muted? Can you hear it? Okay. Goodness. This is the worst thing about being live. There's so many buttons and so many things, and you can never figure out, like, everything changes everything. So anyway, we'll put it back in the we'll edit that back out. So yeah, that's the beauty of being live and also being able to do post work, which is fantastic. Anyway, but we should either try to save money to get the hat for Patreon or get it made, or get me like brain surgery or something to make my brain smaller, or whatever the case may be. We'll put it up there.
Make your brain
but
smaller.
Isn't that why your head?
Okay.
Isn't that why our heads are bigger? Is because our brain? I don't know how bodies work.
I think it's because we're Cro-Magnon men. Frankly.
Oh, that could be it. That totally could be it. So yeah. So, all right. Well, again, we're live on YouTube, as you could tell by us being muted and all this other crazy stuff. So thank you for everyone who came and hung out. We usually get started around 8:00 and we have like a pregame show. And then like 30 minutes later, we get on the prime side. And that's where we're at right now. So thank you for joining. And if you're listening to us on the podcast side, be sure to come hang out over here every Thursday night at 8:00 and Eastern Standard Time, I believe isn't that right?
It's where we be.
Yeah. It's where we be. It's where we
live.
live.
It's technically EDT because we're technically in daylight savings time.
Oh, okay.
I say EST because I like it, and I hate daylight savings time. I refuse to acknowledge it.
We know. We've heard about it.
That's
your thoughts on it, which I agree.
Where I be.
I totally agree. Yep. Well, speaking about people that make us be where we be, I don't know. I'm trying my best.
They do though,
but they do. This episode
make them be where they be.
Could not. This whole thing could not be a thing unless we had our patrons. And right now we want to highlight two of our favorite people and people that bring the show to you and that we can count on. And they've given us their support. And that is Evan Roberts and Ryan Bolton. So thank y'all very much. And we sincerely appreciate all your support and keeping us from saying clang. So there you go. But Ryan.
Warm and fuzzy. Yes.
Yes. Where are we at on the journey today?
Today, we are covering ourselves some wild OVAs. We are, technically, I can give you the exact day we're in.
Do tell.
This is the 21st of May, the year of our Lord, 1996. We're in Japan. You know what I'm saying? We are shopping out for some hot-ass VHS tapes. Oh, new releases. How do you say that in Japanese? I don't know. You roll over there, and you're like, there seems to be a video cassette on the stand here. Brand new. Is that the Turtles? But they look different. Yeah, that's the Mutant Turtles Superman Legend OVA is what we're looking at. 2 episodes today. The first one is kind of they're each based on the Turtles toys, and we'll get more into that later. Lines, specifically the Metal Mutant line, which is only available in Japan. These are 2 basic 25-minute episodes. And they are kind of crazy because it is full anime OVA, go for it. And it is kind of wild. And I can't wait to see the screenshots you got. That's one of my big things I'm looking forward to.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I had a lot of fun.
It's quotable. It is quotable.
Oh, definitely.
It is mega quotable.
Yeah, we're going to try to get this in our some of this stuff in our vernacular. So definitely. But we also have on the agenda that we might talk about the soundtrack. There's not a lot to talk about there, but we're definitely going to address it.
We're definitely going to cover it.
But it's this whole thing is interesting, and if you haven't seen it yet, or if you don't want us to spoil it, or whatever the case may be, you can go
wait for that, Turtletarians.
Right, I know, right? But if you feel like pausing it real quick, you can go to our YouTube. We put out trailers every week for like the upcoming stuff that's happening like that Thursday, and so in the description for the trailer for 260, you will find the links to the video that somebody has uploaded to YouTube that we watched it from, and that way you can get caught up if you feel so inclined. But if not, just hang out here and enjoy the ride as we go through it.
Yeah.
Real quick,
let's do it right here live.
That's one of the things that it reminds me of the movie Walk Hard. That was the parody of Walk the Line. Like I watched the parody before I watched the real one, so it kind of colored my whole experience.
That's such an Eric Crosby thing to do.
It totally is. It totally is. And, but like it totally like colored the whole thing. So every like dramatic moment in the real one was like tainted by the the parody, but I guess in a endearing way. I don't know, but I kind of feel like the same way with this, that like if you haven't seen it yet and you're watching our review of it, it's kind of gonna have the same effect, I would imagine. But
I don't know, man, because I feel like this thing speaks for itself. We can only speak to what this thing is. You know what I'm saying? Like we can only speak to the craziness that goes on,
right?
Because it's gonna get you, it's gonna hit you crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not making fun of a serious thing. This thing is
true.
madness.
That is true.
But it's worth your time for sure. But yeah, we'll definitely get to that later. Would you like to get into some emails?
Desperately
to see what the emails are today.
Desperately. That's all I've been living for today.
Excellent. All right, cool. So we're gonna open up with our main man, John Barnes. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. He writes in, "Hey there, fellas. How's it going?"
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? It says, "This email could turn into a Turtles come out and fight that, but we will see how it goes. Due to a mixture of circumstance, financial reasons, and a dislike of how Mondo are starting to operate, I've had to sell my Montu Motu collection."
Okay.
Yes, I know this is a TMNT podcast. Even though I didn't have the complete set, and as alluded to before, I am beginning to disagree with the way Mondo are releasing their figures. This has really gutted me. The surprising reason for this is that it feels like a connection to Motu has been lost. Like, that was one extra way in which I supported the brand and now is gone. Plus, the figures look rad. I guess my question is, have you had any collections that you've had to get rid of? Do you regret it? Or don't you think about it anymore? I've mentioned this before, but I've had all the single issues of Adventures, its UK equivalent anyway, and I sold them. Mental. The whole run, including annuals. Anyway, I don't want to dig that up. Neither would I. You know what I'm saying? Not even on the therapist couch. I wouldn't drop that one. If the Turtles had to sell their collection, A, what would their collection be? And B, how would they do it best to avoid heartache? Well, guys, until Mikey starts his... John, you're testing me on this podcast. I'm going to choose not to read that. It's hilarious, though. Let's say until Mikey starts to sell his own...
I think we could sell his own mutagen ranch sauce.
His own mutagen ranch sauce.
Is that where we're going? Okay.
It'd be called Kawa butt plugs. That's what he said. I can say that part. I will bid you farewell, Jono. Yeah. Jono was like, I'm gonna see if he reads that on YouTube.
Yep.
So breaking this down, because I feel like we can. So first of all, like, and I do not want to get mega deep into this.
Okay.
But do you know what he's talking about with this Mondo Motu situation?
Not specifically. Not specifically. I think he has a deeper appreciation for their figures than I do. Like, I acknowledge how good they look. They're just not like they didn't do it for me enough, and it's also not my scale. I believe they are like they're like 1/6 or like bigger than that, if I'm not mistaken. And so and I'm generally a 1/12 scale kind of guy, and which is fine, you know, or whatever. But like, something about it, they didn't grab me enough. And but if y'all like them, that's cool. But I kind of have a similar thing with the new Masters of the Universe Origins figures that are out now at Walmarts and stuff like that, where they're the old style vintage looking figures. However, they are still 5 and whatever inches. Like, they're still small, but they have better articulation. And I've just not bought them. And it makes me feel like, oh, this is something that like I love, and it's everywhere, and it's using the old branding but with some new artwork and stuff. And like, it's really troubling me that I'm not buying Masters of the Universe stuff. Similarly to how when the Platinum Dunes movies, Turtles figures came out, wasn't buying them. And then Rise of the TMNT, I bought the first wave, but everything else I just didn't. And it's a similar thing. And I think he touches on a very good point that I don't know how refined and how deep we want to. Well, we said we didn't want to get too deep into this, but it's something about I want to still support it, but I don't. It's not meeting me halfway, kind of thing. Like it's almost like looking at you go to a dock to meet to where you meet like a boat or something like that all the time, and then that boat's like on another dock, and you could kind of get there, but it's way out of the way, and you kind of get heartbroken because this thing you're familiar with is like now somewhere else, and and you don't want to go that way to get it. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but I've had similar vibes, especially with both Masters and TMNT. So I get the feelings. So but he said what Turtles sell their collection, and what would it be and how would they sell it? Is that what
I'm gonna step through it. So
okay,
I guess this big question is like, have you ever had a collection that you've had to get rid of, and do you regret it?
No.
I don't think I've ever parted with a collection I've ever had. I think that if I have to stop, I kind of just like sit on them and feel a lot of shame about whatever it was, and then I just keep it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really trying to think if there's ever been a collection I had. I guess I got rid of. You don't have to necessarily sell it. So one small thing was when I used to when I was like a younger teenager, like I really enjoy Coca-Cola. It's good stuff. And I kind of ironically started collecting like Coke paraphernalia, just like very ironically. It was almost like wouldn't you expect like Ryan to have a Coke phone, for example?
Absolutely. Like when I met you,
and it was
totally.
It was the full it was the full like bottle cap, like with like it lit up like neon, like Coca-Cola, and the phone was on top. Yeah, it was an awful phone. It was a terrible phone. I mean, like it was an awful phone. But you'd expected Ryan to have that, so I had that, and it was in this weird, ironic way. Well, it kind of got out of hand, where like relatives didn't know me very well, just started getting me random Coke crap. And it's not their fault because no. I ironically was wearing Coke shirts and ironically had this random Coke shit everywhere, but like I didn't really want it in lieu of like other gifts. So it became awkward. Of course, you don't know how to like, because they're really happy to give it to you. You don't know how to like say like, well, I'm just not into this Coke stuff. And some of it was really cool. So that's the other part where like sometimes you get some stuff. I know that like my in-laws gave me some stuff. I was like, oh, this is cool. I still have that stuff. Like, so it's not that I don't want it.
Like when they got you that when they got you that real polar bear, like you still have that, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, okay. I kind of converted it into a lost polar bear. I gave him like the leather necklace with Dharma on it and stuff.
Right. Okay.
And I did all that, but so it was always kind of hard a little bit. That eventually wore off, which I appreciate. But I had a bunch of it, and I was like trying to get rid of stuff like around, or just in the house. I was like, I have too much stuff. I'm like, I started being merciless, man, like throwing stuff away and being like, no, I'm out. Yeah. And I had boxes and boxes of Coke stuff. And I basically like grabbed I told myself you'll keep one box of it. So I kind of like took a bunch of it that I really liked and that meant something to me or whatever. And I just literally threw away the rest because I was like, I cannot, first of all, I'm just not that into it to have like shelves of Coke crap. I just don't. Right. So I think that's the closest I can come to saying I got rid of like a bulk of a collection.
Right.
I don't regret it. Because that's 5 boxes I don't have anymore. Yeah. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I wasn't connected to it. That's the other thing. I didn't let like a run of adventures go. Like I collected adventures my whole childhood. Then I was like, you know what? Like this is like kid stuff. Let me get rid of this. And I'm like, no. Like I've never had a story like that.
Yeah, I don't think that I have either. The closest thing I could think of is when I lost my job and I got laid off and I had to sell a bunch of my figures, and so I had a bunch of the like first runs of Toy Biz Marvel Legends that were still in the box because I just hadn't got around to them because I think I had finally moved into my own house, but didn't have the time to set everything up yet, so I kept them in the boxes because normally I open everything. And so I was able to sell them and like stay like, in my house for quite a while for the money I was making off of them. And so I didn't regret it in that regard. There was a little bit of anxiety because I was like, well, what if they don't put this figure out again? And I know it's like, this is, it's a small problem to have, but it's still in the moment, it means a lot. And
No, it means a
but
lot. Yeah.
yeah. And then I just resolved to the idea that, like, there's always going to be something else to collect. But now, to your point and Jono's point as well, that the thing that you've held like all this time, and then like you let go of it in a moment of weakness or whatever, disparity, whatever the case may be. I mean, I don't think I've ever actually ran into that situation, but I can totally see the merits of like how that it'll gut you, and it'll make you feel just miserable.
The only thing I've ever sold that I regret, and I still regret to this very day, was my 72 Duster. I had a 72 Duster I bought.
That's a car, right?
Back when I worked for my dad, that black one. Yeah. Like it was Plymouth Duster, 72. Had the slant 6. It wasn't a Hemi, or it wasn't, like even a 318. It was a slant 6, but it was freaking awesome. Yeah. And I put a lot of work into it and stuff. But then when I moved in with Alicia, and there's this voice that goes like, now's the time to be a man and sell that thing, and you make a little money, and that'll let you buy some stuff for the house, and and then you in the future you can get another car, man, but like right now the insurance money, all this shit, like time to move on, like this like wise old like cowboy Ryan came into my head and was like, time to knuckle up and be a man. And I sold it. Now, granted, I sold it for more than I paid for it. Like I think I paid $1,200 for it. I sold it for like $3,000. That was good money. Like I was like, that was like 2007 money. I was like, yeah, like that's good. Like I'll do that. I have never stopped regretting that.
Yeah.
I regretted it about maybe a month or two after I sold it, and I still regret it.
Yeah.
To this day. And now there's no way you're going to get a Mopar with good bones for $1,200. That's just not like a thing. And that was stupid. That was just stupid to do. I should have just held on and been like, I won't insure it. I'll just work on it, and it won't have a plate, and it's all good. But I used to drive it around. It was badass. It was cool as hell. And I wish I still had it. And I don't. And that was stupid. So if you're sitting on a classic and you're like, man, time to go ahead. We're about to have that baby. You can deal with it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Baby's fine.
That's
like,
true. Baby's
I
fine.
can tell you from experience, right? If you're about to have your first kid and you're like, time to go ahead and be a man. Don't listen to Cowboy U.
Don't listen to Cowboy U.
Like, we didn't need that $3,000. I've literally had no money and a child, and somehow the child ate. I don't know, man. You can do it. Yeah. Like it just happens. Like you can just adapt, man.
You definitely
don't sell the car.
Don't listen to your inner the Cowboy U. Listen to your inner Sandman.
No.
And just go to sleep.
Listen to your inner Sandman. There's times to listen to the inner Cowboy U. Right. That is not a time.
Definitely. Yeah.
That is not a time. But yeah, and then I guess the question about the Turtles selling their collection, can we add that to the list for we're doing
I did.
We want to make separate recorded videos that are going to be kind of Turtles come out and fight that, or like Turtles centric, or what would the Turtles do kind of questions.
Right.
And we wanted to make those separate like pre-recorded videos that we would just put out. That you guys can watch and stuff. So we're getting ourselves a good list. So thanks again, Jono, and man, great to hear from you again. And likewise. Of course, if you guys have any like Turtles come out and fight that, or dims the rules on anything like that, like those old things we used to do, throw them into emails. I mean, they don't even got to be long. Also, if you're on our Discord, you can throw it into Discord as well. And we will literally keep a tab of them, and you'll see them addressed later. But indeed, thanks a lot, Jono, especially for the cow butt plugs joke. That made my day.
Goodness.
Not made for children. Well, I mean, I meant the beginning of the show, we're like, this isn't for kids.
I meant the butt plugs. They're not made for children.
No, they don't do what you think they do.
Correct. They don't. No matter what you think they do, they don't do that.
No matter what you think they're good. Some have some medicinal purpose. They don't.
Right.
Number one. Also, Mikey makes and sells them. So just think about that. You know what I'm saying? You get yourself mentally. What would Mikey be doing? You know what I'm saying? Get ready.
Exactly.
So Nathan Haycraft. You know what I'm saying? This is pretty great.
Okay.
This email hits me in the feels because I feel this. Hey guys, it's been a while. I've sent emails into the show before, but I think the last one was during my junior year of high school, and I'm 21 now. Way to make me feel old, Nathan.
Yeah, good job.
And man, it's weird going back and listening to some of my absolutely cringe-tastic letters. That was probably around the time I stopped listening regularly, too. You know how it is. Interests change and you drift away. Oh, I mean, that's my whole life. I just bounce between interests.
You do.
But recently, I do. But recently, I was getting back into my Turtle streak and was wondering what my boys were up to. So I've been catching up for the last couple weeks. Good to see y'all haven't changed much except for the better. Aw.
Oh,
That's
thank you.
that's like a young person going like, you don't look a day over
Right.
35. You're like, well, that sounds great. Thanks a lot, Trish.
But no, no, seriously,
anyway,
thanks though.
no, it's not really that.
Right.
It's just yeah. I'm playing up the age thing because
Right.
Anyway, to my point. In a recent-ish episode, not sure which one, you guys were talking about how listeners' memories of the Turtles are probably now connected to the podcast in some way. And I just wanted to say that's definitely the case with me. Before I listened to the show, I knew next to nothing about the Mirage or Adventure stuff, and my introduction to many of those stories was through you guys while listening at lunch or during my walk home. I guess I don't have much else to say about it, except that I really appreciate you and the show, despite my long listening absence. A belated congrats on 250 and the new YouTube setup. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope to keep a steady diet of about one bowl of soup a week for a long time to come. You know what I'm saying? Your lapsed and returning Kentucky correspondent, Nathan. Well, Nathan, look, these warm turtle soup arms, kind of maybe a little slick from the sewer. You're trying to wipe them off. But you know, it's kind of on us. We're always here for you, brother. You're always here to open up those arms. You know what I'm saying? And make it happen.
Exactly.
And it's an honor to me to think that you have memories, you know, of the TMNT connected to the show. That's like I've said this before a million times, but that's definitely like was one of my like podcasting like bucket list goals. Was like, can we make a podcast that like people will remember after they've listened to it, and it'll they'll grow with it, and it'll grow with them, kind of like how, because Eric and I had podcasts we listened to that, I mean, they were like bae to us, and they it certainly informed us. So you always hope that you could maybe do the same thing. That's like one of your maybe I could have an impact things. And we really appreciate that. And
definitely.
Don't worry, bro. I got podcasts like, actually I kind of prefer to waffle on podcasts back and forth a little bit, because like then I get a bunch of episodes to listen to.
That is true.
I think that's a common tactic. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll be listening to audiobooks like crazy. Then I'll just stop listening to audiobooks, and I'm totally fine with it, because I know those Audible credits are stacking up, and I'm good, man. I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm like doing a podcast. When I go back to those audiobooks, like, Ryan, you have 8 credits. I'm like, yes. And I just go nuts. You know what I mean? So thanks again, Nathan. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I've fallen off the podcast train a little bit with a bunch of things. There's a handful that I still, well, not a handful, like there's like maybe 1 or 2 that I still listen to regularly, but it's just when like my commute's like so small now that like I can't really justify it necessarily. But yeah, no, I totally get it. And in a lot of ways, especially when I was like hardcore listening to podcasts, like I would vacillate between hardcore podcast and music. And so like to your point that, when you leave one, it makes coming back sweeter. And that there's something about that.
Sure.
And so we really appreciate you being here and coming back. And like you said, with arms wide open, you know what I'm saying? So,
just a little wet.
Just a little wet.
We try. Like, there's a towel. We tried. It's not that it worked.
No,
the towel
itself
itself is damp. So we knew, like, when we picked the towel up off the sewer floor, we're like, this is not going to dry me completely for this hug. But I think it's the effort that counts. That's at least what I hope.
That is what we hope.
For sure.
So, well,
now, moving on, we have a bunch of figure news.
We do. Probably shouldn't have gone with the slime on that one, because my computer's like, what is this?
What's happening?
And I went to the. It is news. And it went to the wrong thing. Here we go. There we go. Now we're in the news, professionally, officially.
It is Turtle Soup, Turtle Toy Talk News.
Yes.
Live.
Goodness.
You know what I'm saying?
Welcome.
Things have been morphing. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of morphing going on.
Indeed.
And my man Eric's going to walk me through what I found to be a confusing array of images I saw on Facebook and elsewhere this week. I didn't know what that was.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what's going on. I'm like, what's happening? I'm like, well, I know one thing's going to happen. Eric's going to walk my baby self through this.
Oh, I am.
I'm going to wash my baby head, and then we're going to get there.
There you go.
So,
definitely,
without further ado, let's ado this.
Let's do this. So, all right, let me see if I can get the TV turned on real quick, because there is a lot of images that I have to show you.
I gotta warm up sometimes.
Yeah, we got to warm them up.
Sometimes
you know, it's a delicate process, and you know, here at Turtle Soup,
Yep.
it's nothing but the best and highest production values that our patrons' money can provide. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So,
yes.
all right, so I found the television. I got it turned on. So here we go. Prepare your eyes because these are some beautiful looking figures in my opinion. So here we go. Check that out. So,
Oh man.
yeah,
I feel Henshin coming on.
And do you feel a group mutation? Because I do.
Right. I feel a group mutation coming on.
So, so yeah, a couple of days ago, like basically all this week, they've been Hasbro has been letting these like teases come out, and I forget which ones came out first. If I'm not mistaken, it was this one. And for the podcast listeners, I should say, Hasbro is the toy company that has been making Marvel Legends that just recently got the Power Rangers license about a year or so ago, and they're still making Power Rangers, and they decided to go ahead and make Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers figures, like the combined, basically the Boom Studios version of what these characters look like morphed. And Ryan, I am so excited about this. Like I'm practically salivating right now.
Ooh.
Again, for those who don't know, the comic book company Boom Studios, they make Power Rangers, and that comic book and all of the comic books in that universe that have been coming out the last, like, I don't know what, like 5 years or something like that, have been amazing. Like, I've enjoyed the hell out of them, and I even got Farmer Greg on it, and it's really hard to get him to like things. And so, yeah, and I've enjoyed the hell out of them. So then when I saw that they were doing a mashup with TMNT, which the Power Rangers have been doing, they've had a few one-offs with things and stuff like that. And so have the Turtles. The IDW Turtles have been with the Ghostbusters, and they've done like a whole bunch of other stuff with different properties that IDW has, like Transformers and whatnot. But this one's a little different. I think Boom is the main one behind it, if I'm not mistaken, or at least with this, the toys that are coming out. And Hasbro definitely is the licensee that's making these. And first off, I want to start with talking about the artwork, because I follow the artist on Instagram, and if you want to see some really neat art that is like, I don't know, it's consistently like, it's a stylized art if you haven't seen it, but as those watching can probably tell, it's got a look to it. But this person is just like, he does all of their Power Ranger stuff, and I believe they go by @strongstuff on Instagram, and their name is Tom Whalen. So give them a follow on the social webs and all that, because their stuff is great and I love it. And I actually keep all of my Power Rangers boxes, because on the sides, as you can see here, where you have Morphed Donatello and Morphed Leonardo, which is the first 2-pack they revealed, if I'm not mistaken, that you have Donatello in the Black Ranger, Mighty Morphin Ranger, Power Rangers like style outfit, and then you have Leonardo in the Blue Ranger outfit, and they're on the sides of the box. And so the artwork continues onto the they're on the front of the box, and then they continues on the side, so you can display it so it looks like, especially with the single packed figures, it looks just like a row of like, I don't know, just like a lineup. And I don't know, to me that's really neat when the design gets adapted into that part of the collection, and I'm a big fan of that. And I'm a big fan of this artwork. So there you go. But yeah, these things I haven't read. I don't think you've read it either, right? The mashup, like the comedy, like the Power Rangers Turtles team up.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so I haven't read it yet because I've been saving it, because like we were talking about earlier in the episode, that I'm like
sitting on that, just letting that one build up.
Exactly, and because I want to, like, once I get it, I'm not gonna want to stop. And because like two of my favorite things, and because that Turtles comic, if you haven't been reading it, it's legit as well. So but these figures just look so fantastic, and they got I believe they're all coming out around April of next year, and they've got we're gonna go through them all, but like this one is still the Blue and the Black Ranger, which is Leo and Donnie, and here we got them with like some of their accessories, which is pretty neat. And I have a little bit of anxiety because I know Donatello is not a purple Power Ranger. Like, Is that affecting you in any way? Like, or are you just like,
I was gonna say that I would have preferred Raph be the black one, even though I know that there is a red one because I
right?
need some of that adventurous black suit Raph in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
But everybody else kind of has their color. I guess except for Mikey, there's no Orange Ranger.
For Mighty
Um,
Morphin, no. But
well,
but
I mean
yeah.
that's what obviously what I was referring
Well,
to.
yeah, but I mean, that's the whole thing when you get into Power Rangers. It's like there's a whole litany of them. But yeah, that's the thing that's bothering me. But at the same time, I think the only thing besides his weapon, really, as far as I can tell, that's like identifying him as Donatello is probably his weapon, because I don't think his morpher has their initial on them at all. So you could pretty much pretend that this is Raphael. But
it looks like a D on there, but maybe we need to see another picture.
yeah, I don't know that I have any. Oh wait, yeah, I do. I have one. Yeah. So before we get to that, they come with their weapons. Donatello has like a bow staff that has the axe from the Black Ranger, and Leo has like some. The Blue Ranger had a staff, but they also have depicted him with like shorter. They could break apart, like almost like Psy, but not really. So Leo's got that. But then the thing that's pretty neat, in my opinion, they come with unmasked heads, and so you have you have Donatello with some goggles on his head. Which, out of all the things that I think Platinum Dunes did for Turtles, I think giving Donatello the goggles, I'm okay with that. Like, I enjoy that.
I like that. I like that. I'm good with that.
Yeah, and these, I don't know. I think Donatello's head sculpt so far is the best one that we've seen. Then here's one with Leo. This is okay. Now
that's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad by any means. Now these are generally $20, $25 figures a piece, but they're going to be sold in a 2-pack. So your the quality is going to be that of like a regular Marvel Legends or a regular Power Rangers Lightning Collection figure. So there's quality, but also not the most paint detail. However, what's there is pretty good.
The paint seems kind of stripped down. But I'm not mad at the app at all. I hope they look that clean in box.
I do too. Yeah. And so the thing I love about it though is that I'm gonna go back for a second. Well, actually no, I'm gonna go to Raph and Casey. Look at the eyes on Raphael; they're red, and I love that. And the helmet, it's that something about that. Yeah, something about that just like totally gets it for me. But this is I said Casey, I meant Foot Soldier Tommy. Now,
yes.
I don't know too much about the storyline here. All I know is that there's a foot soldier, and it comes with a Tommy head, and as in Tommy Oliver, the green and white, and eventually a black and 2 red Rangers. Yeah, he's been a lot of Rangers. But this foot soldier, Ryan, what do you think about this look for the foot soldier? Because like I don't recall seeing them in the comics from the covers and stuff, but I'm digging this look.
They look a little bit more like they're actually disciples of Shredder, which I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
Like with the outfit. I think it looks good. Do you have another image?
I do. So yeah, there's one of them.
Yeah, it helps me a lot.
Yeah, more in action with their weapons.
You know, I don't mind the look. So what I'll say is like this is where a bit of like your lack of premium paint app I think hurts this treatment.
Right.
Because this is the classic like what you expect to see at hand.
Yeah.
Like and I give them credit. I give them credit for doing these and being like, yeah, this is like close to production. So like this is what you're gonna get. Because normally they would pin wash this guy and you'd be like, oh, badass. And there'd be extra colors and you get him in hand and be like, oh, that's what you get. And you'd be like, well, that's just literally disappointment. That's something that makes you literally like, no, sir.
Right.
Like when you see it in real life. Here, I think they're being honest. However, the uniform gray without any kind of wash detail, especially on the like the waistcloth section.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like and maybe the lighting's just not favorable to this figure. Although, that's a professional doing that and they have all day to make that happen. Yeah, see here.
Yeah.
I like the head sculpt and paint app is great. I do love the like energy effects on the weapons, the acrylic there. It's beautiful. But like you have a lot of smooth detail versus say like the turtle. This is a great example versus Raph. where the muscle detail and the way the suit fits automatically create shadows. You see it in the knees, you see
Yeah.
it in like the biceps, right?
Right.
And we talked about this before,
Mhm.
where I have a lot more background in like miniature painting,
Right.
um, and stuff like that. We talked about how like sometimes with when you're doing like little like heroic scale miniatures, which are
Mhm.
up to 2 inches tall, how you need to add wash and everything to create shadow because they're not big enough to create the shadow itself.
Right.
1/12 scale figures are big enough to create some shadows, but the
Mhm.
sculpt's got to be right? You don't need
Yeah.
to wash everything.
Right.
This is a prime example. So this paint app on Raph, I think looks great.
Mhm.
Because the way it's sculpted, he has detail. But if you go back really fast, go back to Tommy,
To
your
Tommy.
boy Tommy.
Let's see here.
It's just Thomas now.
Yeah.
Your boy Thomas over here. Uh, yeah. See how like the legs, for example, like you don't have any sculpted muscle detail, and
Right.
without wash or any kind of detail, it just goes kind of blah.
Yeah.
Chest cavities the same, chest area, the buck's the same way, really up top.
Mhm.
The uniform purple draping. If you go back one more image to the box art, um, I'm making you do Olympics.
No,
You
you're
see
fine.
how
You're fine.
like you see how that image of Tommy by
Yeah.
your boy, like
Mhm.
how that looks great because that purple has that depth and shading in it, right, and everything like
Yeah.
that. And then let's go to the picture of your boy Thomas in real life. What you get is the uniformity on that top piece is so large
Mhm.
that I can't say I'm the biggest fan of that look. But I
Yeah.
am a fan if you're willing to work on him.
Right.
I think you could do a lot with this guy.
Yeah.
With honestly just some like pin washes. Just get yourself that Tamiya
Yeah.
black panel liner and start playing with them. I
Yeah.
think you could do some really cool stuff here. But
I
I'm
think
not a big fan of him just in hand, just
yeah.
like this.
Yeah, he does look pretty vanilla. However, the design of the actual like foot soldier like outfit, I like the design, like the look of it.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Like so, going back to that art, and you don't have to go back there.
No, I
But
can go
going
back.
back to the
That's fine.
art, like the art looks awesome. Like
Yeah.
the art, like the design sells me. You walk in to see. Here we go, because in the art there you see that while, and this is a classic miniature technique for painting black is
Mhm.
you don't paint it black.
Right.
So what you see here is black is only in the absolute shadows. That's where you get true black, and you realize that actually it's gray. And most times you see something black, it's gray.
Yeah.
In real life. So that you sell me on that, and I love that. Like I really love that design.
Right.
Uh, Transfer to the figure
Mhm.
question mark. Like don't know
Yeah.
what could help it. Not an action figure scientist,
Right.
but I would
Yeah.
lean into sculpting choice.
Yeah.
Like
And
the smooth legs don't help him, right? Those thighs don't
right.
help him.
They
The
don't.
smooth buck doesn't help him versus the turtles, right? Like
That's true.
those things don't help.
Now, I will say, I believe that he was probably a cost-saving maneuver for them, for Hasbro, because there's a lot of new tooling for the turtles.
Sure.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, they could probably. Now, I'm not gonna. Don't quote me on this. They might be able to use the same arms and legs, possibly, but I can't really tell because I don't have them in hand, so I can't tell how big they look. Like they might be bigger than normal. But there's some parts reuse that might be used or applicable, which is par for the course for all toy manufacturers, or most of them. But I will say that with Tommy, or they needed to find something, and they probably just used a regular buck that they had, and a lot of him is just parts reuse. So with the mask on, which I'm generally a masked fan, like I want that character. I don't really care. I get that people like the unmasked versions, and that's cool. That we're up, but like I'm usually like I want them with their mask on, and I think the masked part with the foot soldier is great. And you were talking about getting the Tamiya stuff and like the Gundam markers or whatever. I feel like if you went over the wraps, even if you just went over the waistband wrap, the forearms, and then the shin guards, that would make that figure pop like crazy, and that's a real easy thing to do.
Oh yeah, no, the Tamiya enamel panel liner
Mm-hmm.
once you realize that, like, hey guys, we're working with oil, it's okay, we can wipe it off. Like,
Yeah.
once you get to that level of like white spirits, it's gone.
Right.
Like,
Right.
once you get there, because at first you're like enamel, you're like oil paint, you start going, oh
Yeah.
my god.
Right.
But it's actually super forgiving, and it just slides in. I agree on the waistcloth, 100%. The wrap's huge. Go to that image of him alone again. This is
Okay.
what I'm talking about. I know we're doing a bit of a painting breakdown here.
Hey.
Okay, but right here, right now, there was another image. The one with him and
Raph.
I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is riveting if you're listening to the podcast.
I know,
okay,
right?
This is beautiful. Okay, top of the leg wrap. You see the color separation between the purple and gray?
Mm-hmm.
Need a line of wash in there. We need a paint line right there.
Yeah.
That is the difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
The color separation, just like you see in comics, right? We
Yeah.
use inking, and we use ink lines and black lines to create separation, right?
Right.
And that's where you need it. You literally drop that, because that angle there is very unflattering on your boy Thomas. Like on the paint app, that's a bad angle.
Right.
Because you see right down on top of it. Now, does Raphael have panel lining in between his boots and legs? No. Is the sculpt helping? Yes. Right? Like, you see that you don't need it there. It'd be great there.
It would be.
It'd be awesome there. But your boy Thomas is not sculpted right to do those things.
Right.
And that's no knock on the artist that made him. I mean, I can't make him. I can't make an action figure. I'm good.
Right.
Obviously, the detail. See, what I want to point out there really fast, and I'll let you carry on. Is the detail, the sculpting is there for a panel line wash. It's there.
Absolutely.
They didn't just like smooth it and go, well, fuck, I don't care. Like they put the detail in.
Yeah.
But on this figure in particular, you're gonna need to like make that. You're gonna need to do that yourself. Because
Right.
it's not on here. I think it would really help a ton.
Right.
With the look, and I totally agree. Just easy separation would be huge on this guy.
Well,
and it would not be hard with the enamel. Black wash.
Right. And if you decide to do that, because some of the Power Rangers figures, like especially the monsters that have come out, they've needed a little bit of extra work. And if you want to get some like one-on-one advice with Ryan, just email us to the show, turtlesoupshow@gmail.com, and he'll point you in the right direction.
If I get enough people asking about that, like we could always do like a short segment, like in lieu of like news or something, like on one of the episodes. I'll talk about it for a minute.
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Like, I mean, if you get enough people, and if not, we just do a video on it. Actually,
that's what I was just about to say. I was like, if we get enough people wanting to see that, like we can get the an extra set and have you do that. That would be legit.
We'll do it. I've got a ton of the 2012 Turtles like in box that I've wanted to panel line for a long time. I just never got down to it.
So I did.
So if we get a lot of that, we would do that.
Right. I did mine, but I did it in a very like uninformed way. I forget what pins I was using, but I did go to the art store and get them. But but it was just. It was a learning process for me, and so but I did the wash, and I did the panel lining and stuff, and it transforms those figures. The 2012 Turtles figures are fantastic. So and especially for that kind of stuff. But with Tommy, I definitely think that he was a little bit of a cost saving procedure, and then likewise moving on, they bring us a lot of reuse figure. We got the Pink Ranger again, in the form of morphed April O'Neil, and we get morphed Michelangelo as the saber-toothed tiger Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. Now,
of course.
There's something about Mikey and being yellow and like that I love, because it's
we've talked about this. You and I both have a crush on like when Mikey's depicted as yellow over orange. It looks great here.
Yeah, and he just like, I don't know, this one made me so happy, and I can't really put my finger on it, but he looks great, and the Pink Ranger is great too, and I have at least one of the Pink Rangers from the first time they put her out, but
but they basically sold you another. They basically sold you another Pink Ranger.
Another Pink Ranger, right? Indeed.
And you can't be mad at them. They give you the April head. No. It's fine.
No, they go a little bit extra. So not only do you get an April head, you get here. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. You get a microphone as well as a television camera. So that's not a gun.
According to TV camera.
Right.
Perfect.
Yes. So, but now, this April O'Neil head, Ryan, what do you think about this? Because I think it looks that there's detail there, and it doesn't look bad. But I don't really remember how she looks in the comic, at least this version.
Okay, and I'm ignorant to that.
Mhm.
That looks like if April was your friend's cool mom. That's
Yeah,
just gonna
yeah,
be my just right off the dome take.
right,
It
right,
looks
right,
like, oh, thanks, Miss O'Neill, you're the best. Like, and
right,
she's like, if you're gonna smoke weed, do it with me, so I know you're safe. And you're
right.
like, man, Miss O'Neill, you're the shit.
Yeah,
Like that's what she looks like to
it
me.
totally
But
is.
once again, I don't know how faithful that is to the comic. I like
Mhm.
and so I'll reserve judgment there. I
Right.
do like the inclusion of the camera and microphone. Definitely sets her in place.
Oh, it totally
Um,
does.
and once again, good job on the miniature. Unfortunately, the kind of fuchsia pink they use,
Mhm.
that's a hard color for the sculpting to create lines on.
Yeah.
That's just a naturally hard color. Yellow is also, so this is kind of the our sculpt doesn't save us from not having panel lining or any kind of wash on this
Right.
2-pack, right? Because
Mhm.
yellow doesn't help either.
Right.
Yellow is like one of the worst colors for making natural shadows.
Mhm.
Um, because you just use yellow and white are so close on the spectrum as far as like heat goes, and as far as
Yeah.
like the frequency of light goes. So you want some separation there, but I love seeing Mikey in yellow. My only, I know it's a style guide thing. I know they can't help it, but if they would have made Mikey's bandana yellow just to lean
Mm.
in, I'd have
Yeah.
been like,
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
him, boys.
Oh, you mean on his unmasked face?
On his head, his unmasked
Yeah.
head, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Yeah. I would have
just put a little
loved that.
yellow in there.
But
But it still looks great though.
it
I
does.
mean, it still looks great.
It does. But yeah, Mikey's got the Yellow Rangers daggers, but they're tethered with chains to be his nunchuck. So that's kind of neat. I am I have the inclination almost always that anytime there's a chain, a plastic chained weapon, I generally want to make it a a metal chain, like just
Metal shaped weapon.
put
Yeah, yeah.
customize it, and yeah, and one of the easiest ways to do that real quick, you just take the one link that's there, Dremel a hole in it real quick, then put a go buy a regular chain from wherever, like the craft store, and then tether it to that both ends, and then there you go. Now, if you want to make it posable, you can get one of the thin wires or like the twisty ties that are in that come with a lot of action figures, or at least used to, and you could tether that through some of the links in the chain, and then there you go. You got a posable nunchuck chain.
There's a
And
method that we use in miniature stuff to mold chain, where you effectively use super glue, and
Mhm.
then you to form the chain, and then you spray it with the accelerator so it
Right.
dries really fast, and then you use acetone
Mm.
to clean most of it off, and
Mhm.
because it's hardened more hard with the accelerator, the
Yeah.
only stuff that doesn't come off is what's between the links,
Oh,
so it
okay.
doesn't look all super gluey and nasty,
Right.
but it
Right.
looks like it's frozen like that.
Oh,
But
that's neat.
it's only the only glue that survived was in between the links itself, and the
Mm.
rest you wiped off, so it looks clean and shiny, but
Right.
it's stuck there and it's completely like
Yeah,
empty.
like
Basically,
posed.
there's
Yeah,
nothing
that's
inside. But yeah, putting the little twist tie in there's actually also a really good idea for
yeah. I've
sure.
done it. I've done it on a few turtles. I think for my 2012 Nickelodeon figures, I did that with my Michelangelo. But yeah, again, parts were used for basically a new Pink Ranger, which I'm excited about because my Pink MMPR
Sure.
Ranger, she had like a paint splotch on her helmet, so I'll probably just like switch the helmets out for this. But yeah,
And
so
something
that's
happened and she got sticky. Eric doesn't know how it happened.
I don't know how it happened. I don't know. I just walked in one day and there it was. But
Yeah.
real quick in the chat, we got Noah saying that these are pretty cool. Not even a Power Ranger fan, but I would definitely buy one of those Leos. And so there you go.
It's a vote of confidence right there. You know what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying? You get your 2-pack. Get your
exactly.
2-pack. You know what I'm
And
saying? Get your Donnie too.
that's what I think Hasbro is really banking on with this. Not that this was like a huge stretch for, or like a thing that they're sweating by any means, but knowing that you
Oh.
have two huge fan bases that are we even talked about this last episode because we saw the year of the turtle where they had the run
Yeah.
with the mock Power Rangers, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, that but those two fandoms like are pretty strong, and they're definitely going to buy these.
Yeah.
And I know I am, but um
I can say that April, honestly, I'll be honest, the Pink Ranger April is kind of worth it. I don't know if she was previously issued just the regular Pink Ranger.
She was.
But the acrylic
sorry.
Well, back up.
I backed up. There you go.
So what I'm saying is I don't know if originally it was issued with the acrylic arrow effects. But that is badass. And if your Pink Ranger does not have that, then that's worth picking up.
Right.
That's awesome.
So for those who aren't aware, all the Lightning Collection figures and a lot of the new Marvel Legends stuff come with like some acrylic things in the form of like just effects. So yeah, I believe the original release did come with her
come with it
effect. If she didn't, then the Ranger Slayer, which is a different version of the Pink Ranger, she did. And I know that let me back up here a little bit. So on Tommy, the thing that's around his sword, the lightning effect, if I'm not mistaken, it's a little bit more gummier than what it looks like, which is unfortunate, but it still looks cool. But it's not like super hard acrylic, but it's better than nothing, in my opinion. But you know, and then speaking with all the about all the paint washes and stuff like that, Adam Winters in the chat talks about checking out Zelu 1984, and we've talked about them before.
My
and
God.
they, if you're not, is they like not only can they can
I can't
do,
even.
Like, they can do the simple stuff. Like
we
were talking about, but they'll also take figures and completely transform them into a way better figure that you would have loved to have got, but we unfortunately are left.
He had a Black Widow. He got a hold of. It might have been the Black Suit. He got a hold of a Black Widow that was like the face is just actually awful. And when he got done with it, or I don't know who they are. When they got done with it, it was Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, I can't. Like, you got me, bud. But Zelu 1984 is worth your time.
Definitely,
on Instagram all day long.
And
and if you want advice from a bad artist, just come to me.
Yeah, that's what you do. They come to us.
I mean, you put the oil wash in the crease. You did it wrong.
You did it wrong.
That's basically what you're me. You know what I'm saying?
But Adam.
But I love the acrylic effects. I think that's cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I just wanted to touch on something because this registered with me. It was like I couldn't put my finger on it, and then Adam comes in with the clutch info. He's saying that the maskless head of April gives him the Meredith from The Office vibes, as well as and now I can't think of her name, but the mom off of Home Alone. Why can't I think of her name, Ryan? I should know her name.
Oh yeah.
Like she was in Schitt's Creek, Beetlejuice, and I'm gonna.
She's
hate
like
myself.
the best. She was in.
She's amazing.
She's in. For your consideration.
And Preston's gonna hate us for this. Father Preston's gonna just like.
I mean, I hate myself right now.
Oh yeah,
I hate myself for not
but
remembering her name now.
Nevertheless, Adam, thank you for
Catherine.
Catherine, is that right? Oh, that sounds right. But yeah, yeah. Are we gonna
mic, man? Math of the mic.
I know.
I'm on it.
This is the joy of live podcasting. So, but yeah, you're right. Like O'Hara. Nope, that's not it.
Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah, that was it.
Alicia, my wife, came in with the clutch. Catherine O'Hara. That's who it is.
That's who it is. And so yeah, but no,
Why?
I totally.
I was so far away. I had the Catherine part, but the O'Hara, I would have sat there for like 20 years before I figured that out. Now my camera's unfocused.
Oh, thank you, Farmer Greg.
If you want to know how I feel, if you want to know how I feel right now, look how unfocused my camera is.
Right.
That's how crunchy I feel right now. Oh, it came back.
Well, thank you, Farmer Greg, for also chiming in with Catherine O'Hara. But yeah, no, Adam, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like that is the same vibes I'm getting from that too, and I couldn't articulate it yet. But yeah, no, thank you for that. But
Kevin!
Yeah.
Kevin! that for some, like I said, she doesn't mind if y'all smoke, but she'd rather you do it at her house.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm cool with that, man.
Yeah.
Like, hey, everyone needs a mom like that. That's awesome.
The best.
I mean, you gotta be a little worried if that is your mom. Because that's what's two ways.
Yeah,
where she's cool.
Double-edged sword.
This one's another way where she's really irresponsible.
Yes.
You gotta watch out for that.
Exactly.
But like, yeah, she's cool. But yeah, there's something about the face, and once again, I have no idea how she's depicted in the comic, and if that's how it is, it might be a perfect likeness. I have no idea.
Well, speaking about, I don't even know about perfect likenesses, but this next likeness, Ryan, and this is a reveal that happened today, right before we started the podcast. We got your boy Shredder as the Green Ranger, and
interesting.
I'm a fan. I gotta say, because I'm a sucker. Actually, I should probably say, because that Green Ranger, when I saw the Green Ranger like in 93, yeah.
Yep. The first time I saw the Green Ranger, I was like, "You got to be kidding me! This is the coolest thing I've ever seen."
This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's the same as the others, except he's got a gold shield on his chest that's like a triangle,
and he's got that flute.
Oh, the flute.
dagger
That's,
flute.
that's a synthesizer that sounds like a yeah. It's also a dagger and all this stuff. Yeah. So, remember when we used
Copyright
to edit?
strike. Got him, boys.
Remember we used to edit the really bad stuff we'd say
Yes.
with that?
No, if we said something bad, we went, boop, 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 that was like
the
the
best.
funniest thing ever.
So, speaking of things that aren't funny, this Shredder's not. He looks like
He looks all right. Let me spin that wheel. Let me see it better. Do you have a better like an action shot of him?
I have one of
I need
him.
to get him out of his plastic prison.
Okay, let's
You know
let's. There you go. He's
Break him
free.
out. That's a good look.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting. That's almost Donnie Green.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
In that
Almost.
lighting.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a fan of that. It's got a little less blue than he has normally, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of it. You want to talk about a miniature or sorry, a figure where panel lining would work. Whoa.
Oh yeah.
He's got all this room for it.
He does.
It's gonna look so good.
Yeah.
I like the metallic gap. Definitely more metallic. I wanted to compliment this. I do like the metallic color.
Oh yeah.
And it's a little more metallic and plays a little more metallic than I've seen a lot of like. It's gray, so it's steel.
Right.
And look. I am far from the figure expert. You know what I'm saying? Like people are like, yeah, well, that's just how it is, and that's the style and whatever. But like doing the miniature stuff, like I just paint true metallic metal, so it's actually metal flakes and it looks like metal. So the more closer to vac metal you get for me in the plastic material, the happier I am, and with the paint app. And here, the reflectivity looks good.
Yeah.
And you see an excellent example of that on his shoulder pads because there is no wash yet. The sculpting and the reflectivity of the gold paint app makes that look like it has panel lining, and that is what we're talking about. I love the tattered cape as well, and the cape detail is actually the sculpt on the inside is really nice.
I think that's soft goods, dude. That's soft goods, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that looks like because I see a sew line. So
okay, yeah, wow, good eyes. I love the tatters on it. I'm a big fan of that. Looking into this, I'm a big fan. I really like this figure.
I agree. I'm in for this one. If I had to get any of them, I would definitely just get this Shredder. It seems
he's an easy one off. He's good.
Oh yeah, and he's gonna be a solo packed figure, like or a single packed figure. He's doesn't come with anybody else. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of this, and it just like. I don't know. Like I love this design. It's like two of my favorite designs. Like so, comic book Shredder, especially like it's loosely inspired by because I can't remember if Boom is taking it directly from IDW, but nevertheless that same vibe that IDW has for Shredder, as well as the Green Ranger, like two of my favorite designs in all of like fiction, and like. Combined in a really good way. Yeah, I'm here for that all day. And so I am super into that. And so I don't know, like I'm going to get all of these. Like there's no doubt in my mind. Like I should say I already got them pre-ordered. So yeah, but even if I saw them in stores, there's a chance I might buy two and be like, "Hey Ryan, I might need you to help me with this this glow up that these need." But
we can run that glow up. Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm curious though if these do really well. There was people talking about that because a lot of people didn't know that this was based on anything, that they just thought it was like a gimmick. So people were saying like, well, who's going to be the White Ranger? Would it be Casey or whatever or Splinter? And again, like we said, we haven't read it yet, so we don't know. But I would be interested to see the White Ranger's take, but I would imagine it would need to be something that, because the White Ranger, for those unfamiliar, has a similar shield, like chest armor plate.
Yeah.
And that is cool. And I could see if they could maybe make Shredder that again, like where he gets another glow up, like where similar to how Tommy did with the green and white. That would be neat.
Bit of a devil Shredder maybe
Oh
going on a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah,
You know what I'm
like a
saying?
Dark Devil Shredder. Yeah, that'd be sick.
Dark.
And
No,
then
I didn't say anything about Dark Devil.
oh, sorry, I took it there.
I just said Devil Shredder. Okay,
But
like I wasn't going to Dark Devil Shredder. We're not there. We're not ready for that yet.
we're not ready for that yet, quite yet. But like the other thing is that obviously the big thing with Power Rangers is that they have their Zords, and so people have been saying that might be really cool if they, and we agree, or at least I do, that because I think in the comic they merged the Megazord with the with Metalhead. And that it's like a combination of them. And that's pretty sick. So I'm kind of here for that too.
Sick.
And now I don't know. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are probably going to buy the 2-packs and then get rid of Tommy, the Foot Soldier Tommy. So if you're looking to army build, I might say wait until they hit eBay, and then people are going to be getting rid of Tommy. And that's going to be a good thing. And I got to give props to Hasbro again, because like the Pink Ranger was one of the harder ones to find. And this is another good example of them giving fans another opportunity to get something.
Yeah, filling it back in.
Exactly.
That's not bad.
And so, I'm all around like over the moon with this stuff. So yeah, this is like really, I don't know. This has gotten me through the week pretty much. Like I've been so excited about this stuff. So again, these are coming out
through the week.
So this is these are coming out in April of next year. So we got about a year to wait, and a little less now. So you can look forward to those, and then they're up for pre-order now. I got mine on BigBadToyStore.com, and I think they're pretty much anywhere else that you could buy toys online. So there you go. So all right, well that's the toy news.
Nice, those are exciting.
Yeah. So are you ready to get into? Let me see. I got to get it set up because we're all over the place.
Get it set up.
All right. So you ready to get the slime? I'm gonna slime you.
Slime me. Ugh.
I don't think
that nose blow come on. Come through on YouTube.
It did. I am terrified of
I had to
muting the mics again because I don't want to forget.
I had to blow my nose in a way that I was not going to be able to survive the next segment. So that's how that was.
Well, and that's
the thing I normally do. You guys have noticed, like, whenever my nose is like just weird, like there's dust or something like that, you'll see me kind of like do this, or like I do this sometimes. I gotta pull on it a little bit, and that usually clears it up. But like one in every like 100 times I mess with it, I dislodge all the crap in my nose, and I basically, instead of everything running this way, I block my nose off, and I'm like, oh, I can't actually function.
Right.
Like it. So that's what happened. So that's behind the curtain for y'all.
Great. Well, and that's the thing. It shows, that's the beauty of us being live, and being, because people before, they'd send us emails being like, are y'all really real? Because like y'all seem so cool and this.
Yeah,
and
like y'all seem like cartoon characters.
Exactly.
Do you have a booty hole? All these kind of questions.
All those kind of questions.
And they're true.
Yeah. And so, but
everything you've heard is true.
Everything is true about us that you've heard on the internet. But, the one thing that this is showing people is that we are real, and this is live. And so we're human beings just like y'all.
This is live. We have real noses, and every once in a while,
we bleed our own blood.
It happens to you.
So
we bleed our own blood.
So, yeah.
So are you ready to get into this OVA goodness?
I think so. I think I am. I'm pulling up the notes now. Yeah. So, do you want to do this so basically, or how we want to do this?
Do you have a good landing page for us for the?
Oh, I might. Let me see.
I'll just do it over that.
Yeah. Let me. Actually, I don't know that I do. I don't know that I do, but I will find something. So
I can run it right here.
Here we go. I got it. Okay. I got you. So, yeah, let me, TV. No, you're gonna have to go, because, no, I found it. Sorry, we're all over the place again.
You are just shaking me left and right, brother. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just gonna sit here like this.
Yeah.
And just wait.
I forgot that I had the hookups, because when you have multiple video game systems, you got to unplug the HDMI and do that for the TVs. When we do the news segment, I have to unplug all the cables and then plug them back in. You're still doing that thing, and so here we go. I got all the cables plugged back in. So here we go. We're going to the TV, and
okay.
We
warm the TV up.
3. Here we go.
Yep.
There we go.
Mutant Turtles Superman Legend OVA. It is legendary.
It is.
So this, so just a little by way of background here before we get into the main episode 1. I'll be tackling. This is only consisted of 2 episodes. I'll be tackling episode 1. Eric will be tackling episode 2. And this OVA, which stands for Original Video Animation, if you guys aren't familiar, were straight to home video animations. They were not shown in theaters or on TV. And OVAs, from my understanding, were kind of cool ways to test something. It was almost like if you couldn't really get airtime on TV or whatever, you just want to make a special interest kind of thing. You kind of did an OVA, put it out. If it sells well, maybe we'll make a cartoon out of it. Maybe we'll whatever. It's a bit of a way to get a kind of a backdoor pilot, especially in that era, right?
Oh yeah.
So this OVA was made to obviously support the Playmates toys line, as all good TMNT cartoons were made to do in this era. This was released May 21st of 1996, and was produced by B Media and Tsuburaya. Tsuburaya, but I'm saying that right. Productions. And yeah, so the first episode is entitled "The Crisis of the Super Turtles." The Saint appears, and those are exclamation points, ladies and gentlemen. So you're supposed to say it as "The Crisis of the Super Turtles." The Saint appears. You know what I'm saying? So we get really intense.
Exactly.
The mic. And yeah, this was based off of the Playmates Super Mutants line. Okay. Notable like videos, but it's actually like the voice cast of 87. We're like, oh, that's really cool, right? Like that's really cool. So I imagine that it was kind of a really cool thing here where you're like, oh man, this is kind of legit because this is the same voice acting I heard throughout the entirety of what is about to be the end of the original 87 animated series.
Right.
Each episode runs 25 minutes long, and this is very standard. I think that the animated series, the original series episodes run closer to 22, so a little longer. And the art style is remarkably different.
Yeah.
Even though Murakami Wolf Swenson is involved, the artists are 100% different. We're going to be covering these 2 episodes and then touching a little bit on the soundtrack at the end, just talking a little bit. We'll throw some facts out about it. But I think we should probably open this review up by saying basically the way it starts out is we get a so basically about what is effectively something that we've already covered. If you go back to our episodes about the Mutant Turtle Mutastone comics, like the manga we read, if you go back into that definitely gets you hyped up for this. If you haven't done that so far, I will definitely drop some small. So basically here.
Yeah.
So we basically learn that the turtles have come across these mutastones and a fairy named Chrismu. Now, what's notable is that Chrismu is spelled different in the captions on this video. It's spelled Crys apostrophe mu, whereas in the comics it was spelled Kris, Chris. So this is a weird small detail, but I noticed that.
Yeah.
So Chrismu is a small fairy, and she is the defender of the Mutastone. She the stones are kind of drawn to the turtles, and they get the Mutastones. This allows them to basically transform, pull a little Henshin action, and turn them into the Supermen legends. I mean, like they have different names every single time, But Super Turtles also tends to be a name, and I think it's the name I go with in my notes. They can go Super Turtle, but there's some rules. Which I really liked. And these rules are covered in that original manga, so you definitely got to go back and check those out when we covered them because they were pretty cool. So one big rule that you figure out damn fast is that you can only mutate for 3 minutes. That's a real thing.
That's it.
And the whole time that's happening, Chrismu is she's really sweet. She's a really sweet little fairy, and she's getting like drained of her like life energy every single time the turtles are mutating. They get into the comics a lot more on that in the comics, and there she is. There's sweet little Chrismu. Never wished anything bad to happen to her. You know what I'm saying? And she is very brave and strong, and she's trying to help the turtles mutate because turns out Shredder, Krang, Bebop, Rocksteady, they all get a hold of another Mutastone. They don't go into it super deep here, but it winds up being like the Mutastone of like revenge or something. Like all the
Yeah.
Mutastones are said like to basically be like an element of like one emotion or one quality. The
Mm,
turtles have the ones of courage, and this
right.
is the one of like revenge or some shit. So of
Yeah.
course, we get things like Dark Devil Shredder. Well, sorry,
Yes.
just Devil Shredder. We're
Devil
gonna talk about
Shredder.
Dark Devil Shredder in a
We'll
minute.
get to him.
We get Devil Shredder, and Bebop Rocksteady. You don't really get cool names, but they do transform
They
here. And
do.
I wanted to note when we see this happen later, it's actually really cool to see their mutated forms, which are very accurate to the manga, which
Hmm.
is awesome.
Oh yeah.
Um, Good to see them in color. It's just
Oh,
cool to see them in
definitely.
color. The
It
the
is.
manga's black and white, and I'm a big fan of them in color. And that's basically the setup they give you is that the bad guys have a mutastone, the good guys have a mutastone, and there's
Mm,
Chrismu, and they basically henshin, they transform to fight each other for the 3 minutes or so that
right.
they actually get. And we've reviewed, and we'll talk a little about how the turtles change appearance. It's kind of weird because as you can see in this image, they do take on the features of a adult man,
Hmm.
which is odd, and I don't know if I'll ever get used to that.
I don't think I will
Um,
either. But it's like
but
and with the and when they mutate, it's like their really cool bandana turns into the Wolverine mask almost, and it's like
it does. It does.
ah.
It's very Wolverine mask. I'm a big fan of no pupils. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
We got,
100%.
we got the no pupil seal of excellence. I'm a
Right.
fan. But yeah, them having like Tom Brady's chin,
Right.
a little weird for me, given the fact that the turtles roughly have no chins, and that's just
Right.
kind of how it is. They have
That's
beaks.
how
You
it
know what I'm
is.
saying? You got
Yeah,
a beak, you don't
exactly.
need a chin.
Yeah.
That's how it is. So that's basically that's kind of the so basically, and this thing is like the manga animated, man. These could just be issues of the manga, and with that comes all of the weirdness
Now,
because this thing is full
it
of
is.
classic anime style humor that spoiler alert, I'm a big fan of.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I am
Kick
totally a
ass.
fan of
See
all
right
this.
there. And also
Yeah,
they curse. That's an important thing.
that's
They just curse here. Now I don't once again, I don't know if that's the translation. If
mhm,
if maybe like it translates to us as kick ass,
mhm.
which is something your parents probably wouldn't want you to say when you're watching Turtles, but
Right.
like maybe in their language it's kind of like like the whole bloody thing in England where like that's more like the
Precisely.
F word.
Right.
Maybe it's like here if you say I'm bloody excellent, you're like no
It-
one
it-
here cares,
yeah, no
right?
one cares. Right. And
But
and,
over
and
there, it's like, oh my god, like if you said it to a teacher, you're done, right? Like go
right.
home.
Right, but
So
but at the same
maybe it's a little
time,
different.
it's still like I mean, it's still like the same point gets across like through what they're saying in Japanese. So I mean, I don't know. I never fully understood it because when we were going
Yeah.
through Sentai back in the day, and even Kamen Rider a lot, especially in
Yeah.
the 90s and 80s and stuff, there would be a lot of this where there would be like what would they say, Kisama or something like that, which was like bastard or essentially, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
whoa,
you
like
you get
that's
some bastards here
yeah,
in this.
and that's like not really a big deal here, but at the same time for like a kids program, like I don't that would not be on the radar
Well,
for things I would see being said. But
and once again, it all. I mean, cultural norms are literally about what words are commonly said.
yeah,
So like if their word like so we hit on the word bastard and go, oh, that's a bad word, right?
right,
Like kids shouldn't say that word. But if the Japanese word for bastard is a lot more like you're the son of a irreparable or a mother of ill repute, or
right,
you are an off you are a unfaithful son to your family or something
right,
like that, then I mean, if your kid said that about somebody, like you're unfaithful to your family, you'd be like,
right.
I
Uh,
don't know if you can say that, but he's not gonna be in trouble for cursing.
yeah,
So
no,
that's what I always wonder
that's
is like
okay. That
the
makes sense.
word. Do you know what I mean? Maybe here
Yeah,
it
yeah,
translates
yeah.
quicker as bastard, but in their language it means a lot different, and it's not as it's a slight on someone, but it's not like the B word here.
Right.
I just don't know.
No, exactly.
Um, so after this intro, we are treated to the intro song. You know what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying? Uh, Go Go Turtles.
Go Go Turtles.
Um, it's a weird song.
It is.
It's got horn.
it
You expect it. Like
Yeah.
it's anime of the time. I'm like,
Yeah,
this is a really upbeat song.
it
The
is.
animation's cool.
Yeah,
Like in the intro, pretty cool. The song to me is not really a gear up kick ass turtle song.
it's not.
Um
It's not. It has a little bit of camp to it in a way where
yeah,
like, and I can't really describe it because some Common Rider has it and a lot of Sentai have it, but a lot of the Sentai, and for those who don't know, Power Rangers in Japanese, they their intro song is usually like really good and builds,
yeah.
gets you ready and stuff.
No, some of the sickest like Japanese metal riffs I've heard were like
Yeah,
at the beginning of like Sentai and Kamen Rider, where it's kind of
right.
like, oh shit, like I'm like, oh damn, this is
Like
badass.
legit, like I had compilation, and I was never one, and we might have talked about this before. I was never one of those people because I knew people that did this, and if you're one of those people, that's fine. There's not, it's not a slight to y'all, but I just knew that I just never really got the people that would get compilations of cartoon theme songs. Now you and I can geek out on some theme songs from like,
Sure.
TGIF and stuff like that, and we can still appreciate them.
yeah,
But
for
I
sure.
never really want to have them in the car constantly. However,
Yeah, I'm
when
not
I got
rolling around. Well, you talking about like cartoons? You talking like rolling around like Rescue Rangers and shit? Like we're gonna
or
bump
the
that? Like,
Flintstones or whatever, and
yeah, no, that's fine.
things like that. Yeah,
That's cool.
I don't need
Yeah,
that. That's cool. We can talk about it, but
keep your hands off the aux if you're
yeah,
gonna be dropping that.
if you're gonna be
You know
dropping
what I'm
that,
saying? Like,
right?
you're good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So but I was never that person, but I did find myself, 'cause to your point, like I was making comp CDs of like all the intros to Kamen Rider and then a bunch of
Yeah.
anime. I found like music through that. And some of our patrons might remember some of the stuff that I put in the zine that we used to do. The songs on that were found through anime and stuff. So it's very typical of that culture to have like really good music with really good animation and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
And but the thing here is that I feel like this is the music that's geared a little bit more towards children and like especially things that are trying to sell toys. And I feel like that's where
It's
the
a little
music
bit more
kind
like
of loses us a little bit.
happy-go-lucky.
Mhm.
I mean the even the Red Skies modified 87 animated series intro, which you and I
Oh,
don't like that
yeah,
song
no.
nearly as much as the original. Even
Correct.
that song though gears you up more than this song.
Oh, absolutely.
This song is
Absolutely.
like go go turtles da 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 da. You're like, okay, like this is just like
Yeah,
kind of silly. It's kind of silly.
it is.
But once again, and it lasts. It is like a full 2 minutes.
It
I'm like
is.
watching this like they're
Yeah.
still going,
They're still going.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, and the classic, the English translation of Japanese lyrics where you're like, go stomp on a pizza, dance, everyone's hearts will be full.
Yeah.
What does
Yeah.
this mean? There's a lot of times like that, but those are kind of funny. Like I actually watched your episode with my daughter,
Oh,
um,
okay.
because I was like kind of time crunched to like to get that in and whatever
Right.
today when I got off work, and we watched it together, and she was like, "What is this song?" She's like, "Why would you stomp on the ground and then stomp on a pizza?" I'm like, "I don't know why." I'm like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
And then she looked at me. She's like, "Dad, I want to get into Sailor Moon." And I was like,
Did she
"I
really?
need to talk to your uncle Eric about that." Yeah,
Did she
I was like,
really?
I literally said, "I'm like, she did." I go, "I need to talk to your uncle Eric about that." And I
Yeah.
left it right there. So
Yes.
that's a
Okay.
little conversation we'll be having after the show.
After the show. Yes.
So yeah, because I googled it for a second. I was like, what viewing order for Sailor Moon? And it was like,
good
do
luck.
all of these and also cast a spell. And I'm like,
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
I'm not into dark magic. I mean, maybe if I had Dark Moo with me, we'll talk
Right.
about her later. She's great.
Exactly.
So boom. So the song, gets you a little bit, and then you get some cool stuff. So here we go. We're going into the actual thing. So we open up. Super Turtles in Danger, the debut of the Saint. You know what I'm saying? Here we go. So we open on the humble space shuttle Endeavor in Earth orbit. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get in touch with Mission Control
Yeah.
regarding the apparent disappearance of all stars around the Earth. They're just disappearing. I'm not going to try to like retell jokes here, but let me just say this is where they set in a long running joke where Houston is effectively like, although that's Cape Canaveral, obviously, because the vehicle assembly building. I'm not going to give them much gruff about that. But like it starts this joke where the guy on the ground's like, "Yeah, man, I was at lunch And your boy's like, yeah, but like the stars disappearing. He goes, did you forget your glasses, Captain?
Yeah.
And this joke will go through the whole episode. So they
Oh
argue
yeah.
about glasses, and this is what NASA does the whole time. So during all this, though, we do see that there's a small device planted on the Endeavor's hull, which is shaped like Krang. Funny enough, and it's beeping steadily. Spoiler alert: this never gets explained.
Yeah,
This
no,
is
never.
just
And I completely forgot about
Krang.
this. Like, I
It's
thought that
happening.
was
You hear
Krang.
the beeping. You hear the beeping of it at the end of the episode while they're fighting, and it never gets explained. Unless that device magically pressurizes the space shuttle's cargo hold, which was never made to be pressurized. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. So, turns out, you know what I'm saying? We cut to the Technodrome. You know what I'm saying? Shredder, Krang, People Rocksteady, all in the lair. They're hanging out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is where you start to see. First of all, love the art here.
Oh yeah.
I do prefer this kind of Shredder. I like the fact that he's got like kind of like a black shadow where his face would be, and you just see the eyes. It lets the eyes be very animated, but you don't have to worry. The thing about animated series Shredder from the original series is like sometimes when you see too much of like the rest of his face behind the mask, I don't know why, it just looks funny. Like it
Yeah.
can look odd if it's drawn at certain angles. It looks like it doesn't look right. Whereas
Right.
here it's like, no, he's just evil, man. He's just got a big ass metal mask. I'm a fan of that. I'm like, that's cool.
They can simultaneously make it look evil, but they can also make it look like really buffoonish. And I'm a huge fan of this.
And of course, because we're dealing with anime, what I would love too is his metal grill over his mouth can super deform to show emotion. In this style of animation, which is great too. So you've got as much emotion as you would have on a normal face out of him. Here, which is once again, you have tropes of the genre want to take advantage of them, and they do here, which is really great. So Shredder is like upset because apparently Krang has been destroying the stars. Like the stars are going out. All the stars you normally see at night, they're instantaneously disappearing, which is something given the way that physics work.
Yeah.
But they're going out immediately, which I'm sure would concern. Like actual scientists be like,
yeah, oh yeah. Like
why?
What? Yeah.
Right? What? It's so funny because Shredder and Krang throughout this whole thing are like opposing forces. They're not on the same page. They play it for humor all the time.
They are, but
they just don't know what the other one's doing. Shredder doesn't know what Krang's doing, and Krang doesn't know what Shredder's going to do, and they just run that the whole thing.
Precisely. But I think that to our point that we've made on our reviews of the animated series, that there is definitely like a relation. I'm not saying they're like a couple, but they are. And there's that definite like
they do an odd couple thing. It's an odd couple thing.
Right. And they whenever the Japanese got a hold of this, they totally picked up on that and ran with it. And I love it to death. I'm totally enamored with it.
So Shredder is upset that it's taking so long to make all the stars go away. And because he doesn't fully understand, like, you get feeling he doesn't fully understand what's going on. He's like, oh, if we turn into old men waiting for this to work, like I'm gonna blame you, octopus thing. Oh, by the way, what are we doing?
Right.
And Krang's like, oh yeah, no, dog. Listen. So the deal is this: the stars disappearing. Well, that's just like a cool like thing that's happening from this other. It's a side effect of what I'm really trying to do, which is awaken Dark Mu. Exactly. And you are familiar if you've read the manga and hung out with. You are familiar with Dark Mu. She's badass. And spoiler alert, she's real badass. Yeah. When she shows up, but she's currently encapsulated in her own little crystal stone. And Krang's like, I am zapping this Dark Mu with an actual energy beam, and that's kind of waking her up slowly. And as she wakes up, her power is so strong that that's what's destroying the stars.
Right.
And Shredder's like, well, that's pretty cool. He's like, when do we kill the turtles, though? Yeah. And Krang's like, well, I'll tell you when we kill the turtles. It's when Dark Mu actually wakes up and she destroys Earth. That's when.
Right.
And Shredder's like, cool. So that would kill the turtles.
Yeah.
And Krang's like, oh, exactly. And he's like, but where would we live? You know, if it turns out, you know what I mean? Like, where are we gonna live? And Krang's like, oh yeah, no, you're gonna stay at my place in Dimension X, and you see what you see on screen.
Right.
which is they lose their minds. Bebop, Rocksteady, and Shredder are not about living in Dimension X.
Not
I
about
don't
it.
blame them.
No,
I don't
not at
blame
all.
them. They're freaking out, and Shredder's like, I can't have this happen. And Krang's like, but it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
And
Now,
Shredder's like,
the only way that I'm okay with living in Dimension X is if we get to hang out with the hot rod and teenagers from Dimension X, if you know what I'm saying. So
that's true.
yeah,
Hanging out with neutrinos would be awesome, but you know they won't.
No. So
you know they won't.
They won't.
But once again, like the screenshot is a great example of like showing like just like the emotion they can throw in the face of these characters, and they do it a lot.
So good,
and it's really cool. So they lose their mind, but however, the plan does carry on. As much as Shredder like goes like, you octopus, I'll cook you in a soup or whatever he says all this crazy shit, and it doesn't matter though because like it's still gonna happen.
Yeah.
So we cut to channel 6 where April is covering the sudden disappearance of all the stars.
I love this.
Oh yeah, it's great. So she winds up cutting. She's like, well, and here's some footage we have, or some audio we have from NASA and the Space Shuttle Endeavour currently in orbit around Earth. And it cuts, and they're still like arguing about the glasses joke.
About the glasses,
like, the guy at Houston's like, I found your spare glasses in your bedroom. And the guy's like, I found your glasses in your bedroom. And the guy's like, those are my spares. I brought mine up here. The stars, and they can't get with it. And she's like, okay. Well, as they're watching this is beautiful. As the Turtles are watching this, like it ends, and then April just walks into the lair, like instantly.
Oh yeah.
They turn around and they're like, "Did you walk through a time portal?"
Right.
And she's like, "No, that's pre-recorded."
Which, can you blame them? Because that's like, they live in a world where like Shredder just appears, like, the TVA just shows up.
No, it's true. It's true. But I mean, Donnie at least should be like, "Oh, I know about things."
He should.
But whatever. And Splinter's apparently napping in the background, so he's just taking a little cat nap. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Nap should either be 5 minutes or 5 hours. You know what I'm saying? It should be. No, it's not true. They should either be 30 minutes or 3 hours, and and he's doing a 30-minute one.
Yeah.
So, when she explains that showing something on the news that's not live is a thing,
right?
The Turtles and April start discussing the whole star situation because that's a thing.
Yeah.
Chris Moo winds up showing up, and she informs everyone that only Dark Moo is capable of destroying stars. And that someone must be trying to wake her up.
Right.
So our heroes automatically start to suspect Shredder and the gang because they're like, well, who else would do this dumb shit?
Oh, of course.
And it turns out, yeah. So they're kind of like, like maybe. And then they hear a huge rumble come from above them in the sewer. And they're like, well, that sounds like something to go look at. Splinter's like, oh, I just woke up. Yeah, go do that.
Yeah.
So back on them streets. Turns out, that massive rumble, that was Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady landing in the actual street.
Right.
Like they actually leave impressions in the road surface. That's how hard their dick hit the dirt. They went all the way down. But they're fine.
Right. They're okay.
So while they're like, oh no, and they're like trying to wake up, Crane calls in. And Crane's like, hey man, why still haven't mutated into the Devil Shredder, is what he says.
That's what he says.
What? You still haven't muted into the Devil Shredder? And of course, Shredder's like, dude, he makes an allusion here. And I don't know what it means, but he says something like, yeah, well, we've been trying, but the last time we were thrown back. And I'm like, that's weird. Like, it's almost like we've been trying, but hasn't worked or something.
Huh.
It's weird. And they never touch on it again.
Right.
That's his reply. He's like, well, we've been trying. And it's like, what? Did you just land? So, the Turtles have come out, you know what I'm saying? Because as they're still laying there talking shit to Krang, the whole gang, Splinter, Turtles, April, Chris Moo, they all come floating out of a sewer grate. Basically, Bebop and Rocksteady are really mad because they got caught with their technological pants down.
They did.
Like they should tell they boss, they saw us laying around like they really care. I think that's hilarious to me.
Oh yeah.
And it's great. So of course they pass some insults back and forth. Shredder and his goons go ahead and have a real big, sensual, and frankly, kind of emotional and kind of solid group mutation. They all like mutate. Oh God.
In the
Was it
alley.
good for you? And sure enough, in the alley, that's the world we're living in. It's New York City. It's nitty gritty over here. And whoop, I can feel the overflowing power in me.
And if you're gonna have a group mutation, you want to end it, or at least you want to experience having the overflowing power in you. That's the key to a good, successful group mutation.
Agreed. Now, of course, they've committed a slight faux pas, because when you group mutate first,
right,
you're both on clocks.
That's true.
You're holding yourself to a disadvantage.
Absolutely.
Now, this gets shown in the next episode a little more distinctly.
Right.
But here, they still do it, but they just don't acknowledge it this time. But when they did it, I was like, well, that kind of sucks, because like you group mutate and then you talk shit and the turtles wait for a minute and they're like, cool.
Right.
They're just adding. It's kind of like in hockey when like another penalty gets added on from another team, goes on another penalty from a team before. And you're like, well, that's weird, because like you're going to have a 2-minute power play, but then we're going to be like 5-on-3 for like 30 seconds. Like that's really good. And that's basically what happened. So like they all group mutate, right?
I think to your point, like I would have enjoyed seeing them like actually like part of the gimmick would be them trying to not group mutate. And the turtles are trying, and they're trying to aggravate one another to get them to actually do it.
Yes.
That would have been really neat. But
the only way that group mutating first works is if you use it in a surprise way to like knock their asses out almost. Like I've got you to 50% health.
Right.
And now you have to mutate and whatever. But anyway, it kind of falls in line that Shredder, and this happened in the comics too, where Shredder and Bebop and Rocksteady mutate early, and then they demutate early. And that's kind of what you get. So they do it, and the turtles kind of like actually spend all their time delaying, and they're like, you look stupid doing that. They're like, they make a lot of comments about how awkward they look. They're like, they really ought to like work on that more, because that looks awkward.
Oh yeah.
Then they mutate, of course. So the turtles have their own group mutation. It's all out in the open. They just watch someone else group mutate. But once again, we talked about you want to group mutate last.
Yes.
You never want to be the first one to group mutate.
No.
So the two groups launch at each other. Splinter sees this happen, and he looks at Chris Moon. He's like, this is a distraction. And while we're doing this, they're still awakening Dark Moo, and that can't be happening. So we need to go fight this. Me and you go come out and fight this. And Chris Moo's like, I'm down. So Shredder and so Splinter and Chris Moo hop down to the sewer, and April runs off to report everything she just saw on the news.
Yep.
Which I will 100% say, we talked about this actually pretty recently. That's my April.
Yeah.
If we're gonna go, she's the reporter.
Right.
If we're gonna go there. If we're not going adventures where she starts as a reporter but changes careers, if we're not going to go Mirage where she's a scientist and she's just trying to fire away in the world, if we're not going to do all these different, if we're going to do Yellow Jumpsuit, then she needs to be ruthless about the news.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
my opinion.
I agree.
And that's what she does. She goes,
she's totally that here.
Awesome. Yeah. I got a bunch of this on film, and I'm going to go make more money. And she leaves.
Right.
What she should do.
Exactly.
Love it. So she shows up, so she leaves. Krang is back in the Technodrome, and he is just complaining to himself that waking up Dark Moo is taking way too long. Shredder calls in, and he's like, yo, can I get some foot soldiers? Because that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And Krang comes back with, you stupid, the foot soldiers are having a day off. They went on vacation.
How you gonna be mad when they're on vacation?
How are you gonna be mad on vacation?
Exactly.
And he's like, and by the way, I equipped y'all with power switches for this very reason.
Right.
And Shredder's like, you could have told me about the power switch beforehand. And Krang's like, it's on your body, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
About how you don't know.
Right.
What the power switch is.
Yeah.
And then Krang calls him the R word.
He calls him the R word.
And I was like, that's the 90s.
That is totally the 90s.
That's the 90s. So, when the R word flowed like water.
Yep.
So Shredder goes in and activates that power switch.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm not an R word. I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And just him activating his power up knocks the turtles on their asses. They
Right.
are like wrecked. So you see this happening. This is I guess he does. Oh yeah, the
Oh,
super
sorry.
atrocious
I
dragon
I,
crew attack.
I
No,
lost it. Yeah.
that was later.
Uh,
Yeah,
did I
there you
jump
go.
ahead? Okay, there you go.
No, you're good. You're good. So he does his power up attack, and Turtles are like, "Oh my god, we're not gonna make it."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Splinter and Chris Moo just bust into the Technodrome, which is currently underwater. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I don't get it
they
either.
go in. It's in the bottom of the ocean, but it's fine. So they go in there, and they're like, "You can't awaken Dark Moo because, like, no." And Krang's like making a lot of jokes. Once again, Krang's kind of insane, and I actually really like it. He says a lot of things that like are really like not I wouldn't say inappropriate in like in a bad way, but they don't like seem like he has the full gravity of the situation, and I'm a fan of
Yeah.
that. I'm a
Yeah,
big fan of that.
exactly. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He's like a mad. They play him for like a mad scientist, which I really
Absolutely.
appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
So right here on screen, he says like, "Listen, you can't just barge into someone's home." Like that's
Right.
like the random shit he says. Like
Oh yeah.
when Splinter's like, you shall not just awaken Dark Moo. He's like, you can't just walk in my house,
Yeah.
man.
Just don't
I
come
had
in
the
someone's
door locked.
house.
Like what? Like that's like he basically says, yeah, I call the cops, right?
Yeah.
He later on then says right here you have on screen, damn, I shouldn't have allowed the foot soldiers to take a vacation. Which
Right.
don't worry, we get an update on that.
We do, thankfully.
So this leads to some sweet and I believe unseen. I can't remember when I've seen this.
Right.
Splinter on Krang fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
I love this.
It may have happened in the animated series in season 1 or something, like where they tussle for a minute or something. But I don't recall ever seeing them fight.
I don't
hand to hand, do you?
either. No, the thing that this reminds me of is early, like probably season 1, I think, where the turtles are fighting Krang on the streets, and Splinter takes to Shredder in the sheets. You know what I'm saying? And like I
remember that. That was the retro mutagen gun. I think episode was where they fought each other, like for the first time, really properly. Yeah,
right, and that's very indicative of what's going on here. At least the vibe that I got was those kind of vibes. I don't think that
it's
Splinter
cool
and Krang have actually fought, but this I enjoyed this a lot.
I like this because Krang's got the size on him.
Yeah,
he's also slower, but like Splinter's, he's just a person.
He's just a rat face.
You know what I'm saying?
He's a rat face dude guy. That's all he is.
He's a rat face dude guy with a burnt cheetah.
Yep.
And that's a big android man. So he's a cool matchup, and you see him fighting. I'm like, that's awesome.
It is.
So the two tangle, and we see that now Dark Moo has like opened her eyes, and I love the art for her opening her eyes. Like there's these like two like white slits kind of open up. Yes.
Yeah.
And they're like purple at first. And when they open up wider, they get like white. And I'm like, that's awesome. And of course, Chris Moo's like, this is the actual worst day ever. Because I hate this. And all across the world, we get like an update.
Right.
And by the way, like in this image, like Chris Moo's stunning here.
Oh yeah.
The art is so good.
Oh yeah.
So good. And the expressiveness is perfect. And in the comics they do a good job of this as well, but like in motion it's just so much better.
It's so good.
So we get some updates around the world. You know what I'm saying? Like we see that the Eiffel Tower collapses.
We do.
We see that in China it's happening. You know what I'm saying? Like a big picture of Chairman Mao just falls down. We see in the Florida wetlands that the punk frogs are just chilling in an inner tube.
The punk frogs
kind of the lily pad. Excuse me.
On a lily pad.
They're on a lily pad. And, how big is that lily pad? Because when they mutated, they got to be. They're smaller than the turtles for sure.
Yeah.
But there's not like a lily pad I think in existence that could hold a medium-sized dog, which is roughly maybe that's how big they are at like smallest.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's
maybe that's just an artificial lily pad they made.
It could
be,
anyway, or
they're just having drinks,
or it's just they threw them in. I don't know, because like if you think about it, like maybe they're just actual regular frogs that are just chilling on a lily pad, but then they'd have to have little chairs and little drinks and tables, and that doesn't make any sense. And why would they be in the little clothes like that? So that doesn't make any sense. So they have to be mutated.
Oh no, it's obviously. Well, it's obviously intended to be the punk frogs because it's really hard to see. There's a line where one of them said, I think Napoleon gets picked up, and they say like, Napoleon, where are you going? Like it's obvious that like.
Okay.
Intended.
I must have missed that because
Yeah.
but I guess what the point I'm making is the
It
size of
flashes
them.
on for like a second.
Like I know it's the punk frogs. Like I know that. I guess what I'm saying is that
Yeah.
are these like a reference to the punk frogs? That's like here are these frogs that are dressed like them, or is this them? But they're
No.
just on a bigger lily pad, and that's the one that makes the most
I
sense.
think it's the bigger lily pad. I mean,
Yeah,
like
that's the one that makes.
I had no doubt that it was them. And if you watch it, it might not even be Napoleon's name, but it does flash a name.
Well, I
And they're
know that
talking like get in there.
let's see. I think it's Rasputin is the one with the yellow shirt, and the purple shirt is Genghis. So I don't. I can't think
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
But yeah, but
Sure.
but no, I had no doubt that it was them. But I guess I just didn't know if it was how far they were going to go with that, or if it was just like a joke. But I mean, obviously it's a joke. But
It was a super cool homage. I was hoping they would show
totally.
like maybe the water spout that goes by them would like pick them up and throw them into New York, and I'd be like, that'd be badass.
Oh, that'd
like,
have been amazing. Oh, I love that.
I love that. I love that cameo. But yeah, they're
totally.
chilling in the water, and then a water spout goes right through the wetlands, and they're like, oh, like whatever, Genghis or whoever it is, like, oh, where'd you go? And then then we see Miami Beach.
Yeah.
And you get the promise of the premise with this joke they've been setting up. And yeah, you see the Foot Clan on vacation. Yeah. They're all wearing Hawaiian shirts. They are not saying clang because they are like grilling up some awesome food. One's got a camera. He's filming the other guy's dancing. It's like a whole 9 yards. They got coolers. Yeah. They're like, this is our actual vacation.
Oh, yeah.
And then a water spout comes by and scoops them all up.
And I love this, which I don't know if this is a reference. This was originally a reference to something else too, but the whole blasting off again is definitely taken from Pokemon. But this 96 was Pokemon out by then.
Pokemon was around. Yeah,
it might have. I don't know if the anime was though. I think the game came out in 96, the first one, but the anime, which would have had Team Rocket with Jesse and James and Meowth, that and them saying blasting off again when they get like thrown off or like whatever. But I think that in and of itself was, at least with our generation, and the one like right after us, was popularized by Pokemon. I'm curious if that was an actual reference to something prior, just like this might be. You know what I'm saying? Because I think this would have already been done before Pokemon even came out. So that makes me feel like there's something in Japan like that. This is an homage to that they constantly go back
Pokemon,
to a different anime.
Franchise was created in 95. Pocket Monsters Red and Green came out in 96. And yeah, so it may be, but yeah, the anime series does start in 97. So yeah, we're a little early for that,
right? But
anyway, yeah, they blast off again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't gotta know why. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe that's for you to find out why.
Right.
However, a massive tidal wave is seen hitting New York, and the Turtles see it coming before Shredder and the boys do.
Right.
So they go, oh my. It's a classic thing where you look over someone's shoulder.
Yeah.
This is such a fun trick to do to somebody. Have you ever done this in real life, Eric? Have you ever been talking to somebody and just looked over their shoulder and gone like, and started backing up?
Oh,
dude, it is the meanest shit to do to somebody, because if you play it right, you have to be, you can't like freak out, because
right.
I think to me, I've done it to people a lot of times, because Redneck Jesus, who I used to work with my dad, Robbie, he did that to me one time.
Yeah,
and it sold me because he did it perfectly.
Yeah,
if anyone can anyone can get scared.
Yeah.
If you go, oh shit, like that, like anyone, like that's just gonna jump scare somebody. You can just go, you can just be talking and just scream, and someone will jump, because like, why would you do that?
Right.
It's all about the subtlety of the like, look over their shoulder, make eye contact with something, and just look at it for a second.
Right.
And then widen your eyes, and then start to like just back up, like just start like backing up. And people will like flip around, and it's like the funniest shit.
I think that the closest thing that I think I've done unintentionally is that whenever pre-COVID, whenever you would actually come to my house, we'd be outside on the veranda. Sorry, I just like sounded highfalutin like that.
We would be on the veranda. It's correct.
We would be. So we'd be out there, and I would be looking over your shoulder at different things,
Uh,
and you would be like, "What?" Like you get freaked out by it because you keep seeing me look, and I'm like, "Oh,
yeah,
I just saw something." So that's similar, but yeah, I see your point. Like that is pretty funny, and that is what the turtles do here, and to great comedic effect,
they do.
especially in
They
animation.
do. They look over their shoulder and they're like, "Oh shit!" And Shredder says like, "Don't let their mind games throw you off." You know, we're like,
Right,
"Let's keep charging them." And the turtles like, "No, we're just jump up." And they
right.
just jump up and grab on a building.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, that tidal wave just hits and it
Yeah.
sweeps Shredder and his boys just down into the city. Um, Splinter and Krang also get washed out to sea, which is kind of weird. And you don't really understand how that works. Although your boy does drop, your boy Krang does say, not only are you trespassing in here,
He's still
but you
upset.
forgot to, you also forgot to shut the door.
I love it.
To which Splinter says, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah, yeah.
That's the funniest part of that joke to me.
Oh,
It's
it's
the
the
fact that Splinter's
best.
like Splinter's like, "Oh yeah, sorry." Like
So
that's
it's so
fucking
good
good.
because
That's really good.
you have Krang who's like disassociated himself from like all reality.
Yes.
And he is just
Oh
like
yeah.
going on about being like being a civilized human. Like you let this, he's almost talking to Splinter as if Splinter is a pet. That because like sometimes I'll come in the
Yeah.
house and I'll be like, I'll see my cat and I'm like, thanks, I don't need any help. Like when I've got groceries or something, like I'll talk, like they could actually
Yeah.
do that. I think Krang is doing that, which is kind of neat because it shows that Krang doesn't even consider them to be a threat. So I kind of like that element of it. However,
Yeah.
the fact that he keeps selling it and then you get Splinter to go from jumping up and get ready
Yes.
to die, which is what he says, to
Yes.
apologizing
Yes.
for not shutting the door because
See,
yeah,
and that's good comedic timing
it
because it's
absolutely
in
is.
such a crazy scene
Yeah,
and it happens and he's like, "Oh, sorry." You're like, "That's fucking hilarious."
it is.
So yeah, so they get washed out to sea somehow. I don't know what happens. I guess because literally if you
Uh,
take Krang at his word, Splinter didn't shut the door to the Technodrome when he went into it, and that let the water in. I don't know. It's besides the point.
yeah,
So eventually, the Turtles, Splinter, and Chrismu are reunited and all hang off of a big pizza sign for dear life. I felt like for a minute that the Splinters, probably the Turtles were cool on their like little pizza sign, their little
right.
billboard, until they saw Splinter, and then I was really expecting one of them to say something like a rat on a sinking ship or something, some joke like that. Because I feel like they were setting that up and they just never did.
Right.
Um,
All they go
although
with is
Splinter's very
yeah, all they go with is thank God I learned an ancient swimming style. So whatever that is.
he did. He still got his burnt Cheetos, so that's very important.
That is.
Yeah, they all wind up on the same pizza sign. And then April rolls up in the Channel 6 news helicopter. And she's like, "Hey, guys. So I found Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady and stuff." And of course, like, Leo does this whole, like, "April, you're the best. Channel
Right.
6 News is the best thing ever. And you're so great." And all this stuff like that. And she's like, "Yeah, well, we don't need a big network of stuff to tell us to because they're just over there."
Yeah.
And she points, like, to what is just about 100 feet away. Probably,
Right.
like, maybe 100 or 200 feet to the top of the Empire, or the top of the Statue of Liberty, which
Yeah.
has Bebop, Rocksteady, and Shredder on it. They just washed up there. It's right there, and that was actually also super funny and absolutely played for comedic effect.
Oh, totally.
Unlike the animated series, where I feel like the original animated series would just do that, but
Mhm.
it wasn't a joke.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It would be
Yeah.
like, guys, I've tracked down Shredder. I know
Yeah.
right where he is. They're like, "Whoa, April, thanks a lot," and it's like 2 feet away.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
and it would not be a joke. Here, it's absolutely a joke. She's like, "Yeah, no, just to go over there."
Right.
And it zooms out so you see the scale, and I like that.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me
Well,
see.
real quick, one thing that
Go ahead.
I wanted to mention, and with the water rising up into New York, and some people were saying in the comments too that like this is like Archie Future Earth, like the Future Shark trilogy stuff.
It is.
And it's like I got kind of excited thinking about that because they already showed us like when you set the precedent with like okay, foot soldiers on vacation, and then you show that to me as well as the punk
Yeah.
frogs. I have I'm here for the whole thing. Like I'm like anything can happen, and
Yeah.
that's I absolutely adore about this, although now that we've watched it, we know certain
Yeah.
things happen and certain things don't. But nevertheless,
Sure.
going through it, that initial like thrill is like, oh, this does look like Future Shark Trilogy Archie adventure stuff. And I'm like, if they touch on any of that, like, is Armagon going to show up, or is Ninjara going to pop out of somewhere? Like, I'm here for all of this. Take my money. You know what I'm saying? And so,
Yeah, for
like,
sure, for sure.
it's fantastic.
No, I like that. I like that. I also like the fact, like, you and I are always big fans of like with disaster things, like disaster films or cartoons. We're always like, that's millions dead.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
I
that
love how
too.
they used to do-
Yeah,
New York being that, if the water level is so high that the only like the forehead and crown of the Statue of Liberty is visible, millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people. Like,
oh yeah,
it's an untold tragedy.
it is.
But
It
it's
is.
fine because we're gonna joke about stuff.
Oh, of
So
course.
so Bebop and Rocksteady are kind of immobilized because they drink too much water.
Yeah.
And Shredder's like, you're worthless. And that's a thing. So the Technodrome busts out, bloop, comes out of the water. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And bumps into the Statue of Liberty, which sends Shredder flying off into the water. Everybody laughs. It's a good time.
Mhm.
Krang emerges and holds Darkmoo above his head in victory because she is waking up.
Right.
And then she wakes up. And she looks awesome.
Oh yeah.
She, like, just everything about her is great. This
Yep.
big hype up. She comes out and she looks just as cool as she did in the comics. And she comes out and she's like, and her voice actor is great. And she's just like, it's exactly the villain you want. And
Yeah.
this is one thing I want to talk about just a tad,
Okay.
is that Darkmoo's the actual villain, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's
She's
the
the
best
one.
thing about this.
Her waking up is, in case we skipped
Yes.
over this, is what's caused all of this.
All
Like,
this, yeah.
Yeah. Everything that's happened, like the floods and the water spouts and just all the stars and everything crumbling, the earth shattering and all that stuff. This is all because this one cute devil woman woke up
Yep.
and wants her to have her
Yep.
morning coffee. As a result of that, millions dead, property damage, all kinds of stuff, irreparable.
I'm about that dome inside a dome thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've got like Shredder and Krang are just like, they don't know what the other one's doing. Krang's insane.
Yes.
And Shredder's just like laughable, but honestly in a good way because they lean into it.
Yeah,
They lean into the
absolutely.
laughability with him, which is awesome. Which is kind of how the animated series kind of should have been. I mean, like, lean into it, man. Like, but make it funny.
Yeah.
And he's funny. Everybody's stupid, but they all awaken Darkmoo, and she is actually the real deal.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to destroy everything. And you're like, well, that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
So Darkmoo powers up, and Krang, Krang doesn't know what to expect. He's a bit of the dog that finally caught the car,
Right.
because he's like, do it, kill him. But he doesn't know what the hell she's gonna do. He's like, just do it. And so everyone's a little let down.
Right.
When Darkmoo, instead of like, I don't know, just like raising her arms and the entire world just incinerating.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
which Krang has to be like, I'm about to die. Like, if she destroys the Earth as rapidly as she destroyed those galaxies when she was waking up,
Right.
then this is gonna suck. But no,
Yeah.
everyone's a little brought down when she basically creates what is effectively like a basketball sized. I mean, to her it's really big, but to us
Right.
it's about basketball sized. A dark sphere of energy and just yeets it right at Shredder in the water. Absolutely hits him square in the chest.
Do you mean Shredder or Splinter?
You're way too far ahead.
I'm way too far ahead. Oh, okay, sorry.
You
I
are
didn't.
way too far ahead.
Sorry. Here
You
we
were
go.
like 100 years ahead. We haven't even gotten to the DDS yet, bro.
Dang.
Like, so I don't know where your image of DDS is, but you need to go back to that.
All
You
right,
aren't even
all
there
right.
yet.
All right.
So your boy, so wait, let me reset. So everyone's a little brought down because Chris Moo or Dark Moo is supposed to bring it into the world, but instead she decides to lob a basketball-sized sphere of dark energy right at your boy Shredder's chest.
Right.
Shredder just pushes him under the water. He's like, I'm done. Bebop and Rocksteady immediately start eulogizing him. Like, we lost a good man. Like, they're like, he's dead as shit. Like,
Right.
because, I mean, it's Dark Moo. Like, they're like, he's dead. But, and I gotta admit, the art on this is beautiful. All of a sudden, this huge hand, like clawed hand, comes out of the water for a second, and then,
Right.
like, Shredder comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And what emerges, y'all? is Dark Devil Shredder. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yep. Things have
Love
become
this
hectic
shot
here.
of it. Love that shot of it caught in April's camera lens. That's just
Mm-hmm.
so awesome.
Oh
It's
yeah.
such a great way to present that. The first time you see Dark Devil Shredder is like literally like in that camera lens. I just love it.
Oh yeah. So
Um,
good.
he is kaiju size. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we got here. You know,
Yeah.
toe to toe with Godzilla. It's happening.
Like
He's gigantic.
he towers over the Technodrome.
Oh
So
yes, the
in
Technodrome
water.
is about a basketball size thing to him. In
Right,
water.
which this doesn't really
Yeah.
make any sense
Like-
because the Technodrome, unless the Technodrome is swimming or floating, I guess it's floating because everything around it
floating.
is underwater. So Shredder probably isn't swimming, so his feet are probably on street level, but he's like way taller than like the buildings there at this size, and he kind of reminds me of what was it? Transformers. I think it's Robots in Disguise that has Megatron as the dragon, like the purple dragon and stuff. And it kind of is reminiscent of that to me. And but except like kaiju size, like you were saying. And yeah, Dark Devil Shredder looks pretty badass. So
Dark Devil Shredder. You didn't think it could get any darker?
no,
You didn't think the devil could come for you more?
none more darker.
None more darker. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
Now, Shredder's main attack is comprised effectively of shooting large spheres of dark matter at people.
Right.
He starts off by shooting one directly at Splinter.
There
This
we
is
go.
where you were before.
Yeah. Apologies.
And Splinter, old dad just like rebounds off. Old dad's like, this is nothing. And I'm like, Splinter, that should kill your face. And Splinter's like, nah.
Yeah,
and he just uses the energy. I love this. This is so anime. He uses the momentum of like the ball coming in to whip around it and somehow like, you know, equal and opposite reaction kind of thing, go flying forward.
Yeah.
Like it's just this alley-oop situation. Launch angle, mile per hour off the bat. It's out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He goes up and goes all the way up to the Channel 6 newscopter, no problem. You know what I'm saying?
Problem.
He's like, that's what I think about your dumb basketball thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, that's crazy. The Turtles are already up there because they jumped up there.
Oh, yeah.
Chris moves up there. Everybody's hanging out. And April kind of demands that the Turtles, like, do something. Because, like, he will just destroy everything. And that's obviously, this is Dark whole plan, is that, you know, I want to use two different D words. Dark Devil Shredder will, because I want to say Devil something Shredder.
Right.
For some reason, to me, that sounds better.
It,
Yeah. Devil D Shredder is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But the plan is, I guess, he's just going to clobber the earth because he's so big. So you are spoiling the lead on this damn. You back up.
My bad. Sorry.
Right, so back up. So effectively, April's like, you gotta do something, and the Turtles are like, I guess, man. So they kind of they decide. They're like, they're pretty smart. They're like, well, we're so small, we're gonna annoy him. So they jump down. Donnie, it's really kind of shown, but Donnie jumps down on this building. And he's like up against the window. And he turns around and Bebop and Rocksteady are riding on top of Shredder's like head. Like he's like a kind of a crown of horns. They're on top of that. They're like, look, boss, you know, there's a turtle. And he's on the edge of this building and he's like, man, I'm probably so small you can't even hit me though. And Shredder's like, I'll challenge that assumption. So he basically like, you can effectively what he does. I mean, he just like shoots that. He makes a ball of this sphere of energy, this dark sphere of energy. The animation's great. He knocks a hole in this building that is like, it looks awesome. It has the flashing imagery. It looks great. Misses Donnie though.
Yeah.
Because Donnie hops onto a copter and he's like, bye, and it goes away.
Right.
And then this was a bit anticlimactic. But effectively what happens is like the building he decided that Donnie jumped on. Right. This building apparently is a lot taller than
everything else.
Dark Devil Shredder.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a lot taller than a lot of things. And it falls on Dark Devil Shredder, and Dark Devil Shredder gets knocked out.
He's out. Yeah.
And it's a haymaker. He's out. Krang has a bit of a moment to say, like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Like, the building knocked you out, but like, that's fine.
Like, that was it.
Because it does. And yeah, there is a huge like whirlpool caused by Shredder just like falling down and like sinking below the surface. That
Right.
sucks the Technodrome down there with him. Krang's really mad.
Yeah.
And then thinking they've won, the turtles start to celebrate a little bit.
Right.
Then badass Dark Mew rolls up and she's like, "You're garbage."
Mm-hmm.
And since you stopped, your boy Dark Devil Shredder, because like whatever, that was just the one thing. I'm gonna go to space and destroy Earth from orbit.
Right.
And the turtles are like, "That's a move we can't do because you going to
Mm-hmm.
space. That's crazy." And she flies up there. She's like, "Well, you catch me if you can." And she goes up
Right.
there.
Now,
That's when like Splinter remind.
yeah, well, I wanted to say the turtles have been mutated for a while. So like, they've had this whole thing with Shredder getting like
Seems like a lot longer than 3 minutes, doesn't it?
yeah. So like I don't understand how that's applicable here, but nevertheless, I mean they're still in their mutated forms, so but
I think the fact
yeah.
that they kept cutting back and forth to like Shredder or to Krang and Splinter
Mm-hmm.
and all this other stuff, and then like all the effects of what was happening, like the whole Foot Ninjas joke and the Punk Frogs cameo. I think that distracted from the timeline, but I think you are
That could be.
supposed to believe that this is all in 3 minutes because it's really fast, apparently.
Yeah.
But I agree, it's been a hot minute.
Like you could play
Let me tell you,
one general like run of the mill song in the amount of time that this all takes place, which is wild.
like I could tell you that like literally like we do the 5 minutes between the pregame show and the main show.
Yeah.
That 5 minutes is just long enough for me to go like barely pee, fill up a glass of tea, and get in here.
Right.
That's 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine 3 minutes. Like I'd be
Yeah,
like, dying.
exactly.
Um,
yeah.
So Splinter, you're right. They have been mutated now for a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
Splinter though reminds them that if they can combine their hearts and souls
Right.
and be brave, that they can turn into the Saint.
Right.
And they're like, "Oh, turn into the Saint, you say?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, I do say. Do it." And they do it. They
Mhm.
combine, and they turn into the Saint. And
Right.
the Saint, if you're not familiar, this happened in the manga as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Zords come together. Okay, that's basically
Essentially.
what it is.
Yeah.
Like the four turtles are magically transported into a command center in the head of the thing. It's Power Rangers, and they're in there, and they're doing the thing. So they do that, and then they fly up to space. Now, it turns out that I forgot. Good image. Shredder tells them they have 100 seconds left.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
that does challenge your that kind of makes your point on the timeline. You're like, wait, you got
Right.
a minute and 40 seconds left?
Yeah.
Like
and
okay,
what is this
so,
thing
yeah,
that Splinter's holding? Like, is that like a snow globe? Like, is that a what is this?
Yeah,
Is
I
it
don't know.
I can't tell. It's
It's
basically
so
just like
weird.
a clear bubble
It's
that
a snow globe.
has
It's a clear
that
bubble snow
has
globe.
like the sand timer, and it also says
Yeah,
100 sec
something.
on it. Weird.
It does.
Weird. Anyway,
This is what it is.
I love it though.
I mean, this is the guy that has mothballs that can change the world.
That's
And
true.
he goes, mothballs.
Mothballs.
Like I mean, he's
forgot
got
about
that.
that.
Just in a box under his bed. I mean,
Just
so
in a
he's got
box.
this kind of stuff all day.
Oh, of course. What was I thinking?
Yes, silly man.
Yeah.
So Splinter busts out 100 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Turtle's like, oh shit. So it turns out that Dark moves actually really fast, and she flies up to orbit in no time. And then the Saint also flies up, and they're in hot pursuit. And this knocks. This basically causes the space shuttle Endeavor, to go anthropomorphic as it attempts to scurry out of the way of the impact of Dark Moon and the Saint.
Right.
And let me tell you, while Endeavor was the final space shuttle built by NASA, it was essentially built out of spare parts and was made to replace Challenger when it exploded. So I can say that dodging these things and also looking like an animal is way outside of its design parameters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, way outside.
Right.
I mean, the space shuttle had enough delta V to deorbit itself. That's basically all it had. Didn't have enough to play around. Later on, when the space shuttle goes back, the engines are on. It's facing the planet. I'm like, well, that's not how you deorbit yourself. But anyway,
Right.
so effectively, the thing is that the Endeavor has to get out of the way, and this sets up this huge, like confrontation. Dark Moo's badass. She's like, look, I guess I'll kill you first.
Right.
So she starts lobbing some real spheres.
Yeah.
And they're not just spheres, they're more like discs. And like 2 at a time. She's like, you're in the top levels here. 2 at a time, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah. The Saints' dick's in the dirt. They get hit so many times, and they can't do anything. Like,
Right.
they could barely shrug them off, like the power from your girl, but like they're like, we're dead, basically. We're dead. And you have something you want to say?
No. Sorry, I was agreeing with you. Yes,
No?
they feel like they're dead.
You sound like you were about it.
Yeah, she's just
they're
saying that even your combined powers can't stop me, and they make jokes about how, like, you know, they can't even decide on what pizza toppings they want and all this other stuff. So it's like a simultaneously like dire situation, because one, how can the Saint breathe in space? Like, how does that even work? And two, like, this thing, they could potentially die here, because what if they have 100 seconds? They could lose, like even if they demute, even if they beat her, they still have to get back down to Earth before they run out of air. And so it's
that's my thing. I'm like,
yeah, it's either showing like
suck.
how like heroically altruistic the turtles are as the Saint, which is applicable with the namesake. However, it could also be on the other side of that coin, they're just as insane as Krang and don't have any clue what's going on, or the severity of any situation. Yeah,
I mean, at the end, I think if you're gonna power up into something called the Saint,
right,
you got to be willing to like risk it all for Earth. I mean, this is for all the marbles. This is for
all
Earth. You know what I'm saying? This isn't like for New York City,
right?
Or like someone's life. I mean, this is like the Earth,
right?
Like we gotta, we go hard on Earth. You know what I'm saying? And we gotta get there.
Exactly.
Welcome to Earth. So, plot twist as this is happening. What?
Yeah, I get excited because you said plot twist. Yeah, Chris Moo.
A plot twist. Chris Moo sneaks up behind your girl Dark Moo and gets a hold of her. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you're done. And Dark Moo's like, and I love it because Chris Moo's like, with the power of my last energies, I will make you into crystal like me.
Right.
And Dark Moo's like, you're not gonna do that. And she's like, help, I'm running out of energy. And look at the look on Dark Moo's face right there. Dark Moo's like, you can't do this to me.
Right.
Like I just woke up.
Like, yeah, I just woke up.
I extinguish stars. I extinguish stars when I wake up. What do you do? Have like have a bagel?
Right.
I kill worlds.
Exactly.
Like, and I love it because it's really funny. Chris Moo goes like, I'll encase you in the crystals. Oh God, I'm out of energy. And Dark Moo's like, yeah, of course you are.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Goodness.
Like, yeah, and Dark Moo the whole time is not concerned. She's just like,
no.
okay, this is awkward. But like, that's fine. So Chris Moo kind of very quickly like switches tact because she's like, well, I don't have the energy to actually do this thing. Like Dark Moo said, I can't. So she beckons the Saint to strike her down with Dark Moo as she's holding Dark Moo. Like, you have to strike us both down, right? And the Turtles like, what? Very anime style. What are you talking about?
Right.
And they start going, yeah, we can't do that. They're gonna kill her. That's crazy. We can't do that. That's a classic thing. I'm like, it. This is when Splinter shows up, as illustrated,
right
on the astral plane, right in front of the moon. Looking kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I'll just use this moon because it's like the only backdrop I have. Exactly. And he gets up in front of the moon, and it's basically like an astral plane Zoom call. He's like, can you hear me?
Can you unmute?
Turtles, can you? And they're like, yes, unmute yourself. Yep. No, the login is just your email and the password. It's just the email and the password you got in the email. It's not not rocket science. Yes. So they're like whatever. And so he's like, look, she's a spirit. She can't die. And they're like, good point. He's like, but I'll be honest with you, like, you're not gonna kill her. But like, can y'all even do it though? Because to do this, y'all have to sync your hearts up. It's not just about
Yeah.
syncing up like who likes pepperoni, who likes jelly bean. It's your hearts though. And Turtles are
Mhm.
like, that's
Dang.
fucking solid. I mean, that's intense, dude. Dang.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Dang.
yeah, they go, dang. And then like, all right. So they do listen to their cowboy dad moment here. They do listen to this. This is when you
That's
listen
true.
to cowboy
That's
voice.
true.
He goes, get your hearts together. And they're like, all right. So yeah, this does the trick. They combine and do their finisher move.
Yeah.
I actually really like the animation here when they strike Dark Moo and Chris Moo. Oh yeah, the Mega Final Saint Blade.
Mhm.
That's all there is to it. You
That's
know
all
what I'm
there
saying? It's
is.
the only hit they land on Dark Moo is like a finisher, which is pretty
Right.
great. And yes, the whole scene is like eclipsed in like a blinding white light, which I really love the effect of.
Mhm.
Reminds me a lot of like the really dramatic, like kind of like deadly explosions. There was an anime that I used to watch all the time called Giant Robo,
Oh yeah.
and there was a movie that I just had on VHS that a friend gave me. I watched like the Giant Robo movie like all the time,
Mhm.
and it did this kind of shit. Like when a nuke went off, it was like, whoa, just
Right.
white. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's my shit. So this happens, and during this blinding flash, we see the seconds count down to 0.
Mhm.
So you're kind of like, well,
Yeah.
that sucks because like Eric alluded to, like
Mhm.
you're still out in like low Earth orbit, my man. Like,
Yeah.
that ain't good. You know what I'm
Mm-mm.
saying?
I ain't gonna get it.
But it's okay
Yeah.
because the turtles wake up somehow in the cargo bay of the space shuttle Endeavour. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Surprisingly
Having been
enough.
rescued by the good captain, who apparently had his glasses.
Yeah.
You pick those green guys out of space. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Rendezvous and pull those guys in. That's a thing.
Yeah.
We'll ignore, of course, the fact that the space shuttle's cargo bay could never be pressurized
Yeah, no.
for physics reasons and everything else. Although it is really funny. Did you know that I believe it was Boeing designed a 74-seat passenger capsule for the space shuttle that was supposed to like go in the cargo bay and be fully pressurized itself?
No, I did not know
But the
this.
cargo bays was closed, and they were like, we'll sell tickets to space
Oh.
and make money. And NASA's like, that sounds pretty good.
Right.
And then, of course, they're like, sometimes it's hard to actually get the space shuttle to take off.
Right.
So we're not going to do that.
No.
And they didn't do it. Yeah.
Goodness.
But that's the only time you could have been in the cargo bay of
Right.
the space shuttle and been breathing air and not be dead.
Mm.
But the turtles are fine. I guess
Yeah,
they put
they're
some
okay.
duct tape up there. They're good. So out the window, the turtles see the 2 rotating crystals that contain Chris Moo and Dark Moo kind of attracted to each other and kind of spinning on their own little axis.
Right.
And they watch them kind of wander off in space with Leo eulogizing Chris Moo by saying, although her body was tiny, her bravery was enormous.
Yep.
And that's the end.
Truer
You know what I'm
words.
saying? That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the mayor gonna yell at?
Yeah.
Probably the turtles.
Probably
That's
the
the last
turtles.
joke they make.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was better to end right here, end on that image. Beautiful.
That's fair. That's fair. And that is
episode 1.
that is episode 1.
That is-
So
That is the
yeah.
saint. The saint appears.
The saint appears. So yeah, I absolutely loved this. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
I hate that it was so short, but it did so many things that it was neat to see, kind of the same way with the manga to a similar degree, that like this medium that I love, in the way of like anime and manga and stuff, with this property that I love, that's like this American made like indie comic thing that was like adapted, and then they just marry them together, and then this is still 96. So I would argue that this is still the turtle that they know, like Playmates and Mirage and Kevin and Peter probably already know by this point, but it's still like in that, like, I would still say it's still in the honeymoon phase of them realizing how adaptable the turtles are and how they can go with almost really anything. And that
They really can.
it's very neat to see that, because not everything can do that. And so to think that something came completely whole cloth, like out of like, some grassroots stuff, and then just like hits on all cylinders. Like, that's fantastic. And here
Yeah.
it's indicative of that even more so, taking it out of its native land and into a totally different world that it's inspired by, but not like taken from. I don't know. Like, it's just interesting. And I was a huge fan of everything about this, except that I wanted more. Like, that's my big takeaway, is that I would have watched a full hour episode of this. Now, the one thing that I will say, though, is that it's totally different than the first season of the animated series here in America, because that was also very anime influenced and essentially done by a
W
Japanese
looked a lot
company.
more anime than it did eventually, where it looked a lot more kind of American and lumpy and round.
Yeah, and that first season looks fantastic and has a vibe, but it's very much more like there's like a funny tone to it, but nowhere near as
like April's like tearing around on her motorcycle like a badass. Like, I mean, like that first season's like, it does look cool,
right,
for sure.
But yeah, like it's just, this is, and the other thing that's neat about it is how it's see, when I was and Adam in the chat brought this up, and I was going to mention this, but I forgot it. But thank you, Adam. I was thinking before we were going to watch this was just going to be the manga, just like animated, and that I was going to be real disappointed in that, because I already know how that happens.
I was concerned about that too.
Yeah,
I was concerned about that too, but it's not.
It's not.
It's its own thing.
It's like a continuation, which is really neat, and I'm like super here for that. And so, speaking of continuations, are you ready to get going with this next episode?
Oh, I am.
All right, let's do it.
Born ready.
Well,
born ready.
Here we are. Here we are. We're back from the heavens with episode 2 of the OVA. Is that how this works? So this is titled "The Advent of Guardian Beast," the Metal Turtles debut, and so we open up. Like, well, let me back up just a second for those of us who don't remember, like 30 seconds ago. So from the manga, Turtles find the Mutastones. They can transform. Shredder has an evil one.
Yeah,
he can transform, and Devil Shredder, and they have a time limit and all that stuff. And it's all fine and good. They fight, whatever. They have a friend named Chris Mew, who is a good fairy, devil, something, I don't know. And there's a dark one called Dark Mew. Well, Krang eventually awakens Dark Mew. All this bad stuff happens on Earth. The Turtles can form a Megazord called the Saint, essentially. And they end up with Chris Mew defeating Dark Mew and Shredder and Krang and all of them. And so that's how we get here. So the Turtles, I've had this like long adventure where they've just left space. Like, so like, I don't even know, like they don't even say how long it's been really. But it's enough to where it's, I would say it's within like anywhere from like the same day to probably like the same week. And, it's pretty wild.
More in the same week, man. The same day, man. If you wake up in the cargo bay of the Space Shuttle Endeavor and you're like, this is pressurized, holy shit, and you go back home, you're like, I don't believe this ever happened. I think you need a little time off.
That's true. Yeah,
like,
totally.
I thought this probably been the same. And also, like, you want a little spoiler, Splinter is called upon by an old ally to come to Japan, which means like they had to fly to Japan.
Yeah, they had to fly. So
that makes it not the same day.
That is true. Well, I guess the thing that that gets me is that so we open up, like you said, at this airport in Japan, and like Michelangelo is talking about back from heaven. Now they made a reference to heaven, which I'm pretty sure is just a loose translation of space, like to them, But they make an allusion once the Turtles de-transform from the Saint and they end up on the Holo spaceship. They say, is this heaven? Like, is this, like, did we die, essentially? And so Michelangelo is saying back from heaven. I'm thinking that I thought that might have been a thing, but he could just mean that, like, back from the sky, like, essentially is what it could translate to. But nevertheless, our heroes are at an airport in Japan, and, you know, Mikey is just, like, all about it. He is like so excited about being in Japan and just being on the ground, and like just everything about him is like giddy. And he gets like the cold shoulder and like some shade like really quick from like the whole gang, because the whole gang's here. The
he
four
does.
turtles,
They're not having it.
they're not having it.
Not having
Splinter
it.
and April, they're not having this at all. And again, real quick, we didn't touch on this, but the turtles. So April's probably about 6 foot tall. The turtles are up to her shoulders. Splinter is up to her chest, maybe a little bit below her chest, like her rib cage, I guess. And so I'm just a huge fan for like the scale of the turtles.
Scale's great.
All these iterations, and this is fantastic. So Mikey's just overcome with all this glee, and they're like, Splinter's like, yeah, no, hey, don't get confused, we didn't come here to have fun. This is not going to be a fun trip, Michelangelo, so just chill out. And while he's like still just going on and on and on, the turtles end up calling a taxi and getting in, and they're going to leave his ass. Like, they're dead ass just going to be like, bye, see ya. And so he finally snaps out of it, and he chases him down and jumps in the taxi, which is pretty funny. And it's also super weird to see taxis, because I'm so used to like Ubers now. So like, you don't see I mean, they're still around, obviously, but like, it's just interesting to see like that it's almost like seeing a telephone, like a payphone. In movies and cartoons and whatnot, because you very rarely see them around anymore, but that was neat. So anyway, so we cut to someplace that I was not expecting to be, Ryan. I was not expecting us to go to Dimension X. Were you? Like,
nope.
Like,
that's where we are. Apparently,
I did not see this coming.
That's where the Intendrome ends up at the end
of the flooded New York, which again, like, all that cataclysmic stuff happened, and nothing, no consequence. Like that's the one disappointment.
I mean, we don't see the consequence.
Well, we don't. That's true.
We're in Japan.
That is true.
But Japan should have Japan should have disappeared.
Yeah. It
being an island nation and all.
Now,
like that should have lasted very long.
That's true. However, they are used to Godzilla-related turbulence and stuff, as per the Simpsons episode where they go to Japan.
That is true. That is true.
If any of us on this earth are more equipped to deal with like cataclysmic stuff, I would imagine that Japan is like, well versed in all of that. So, nevertheless, we're in the Technodrome in Dimension X, and we know this because of the red everything, and we have Bebop and Rocksteady and Shredder. The whole gang's here, and like, basically, Krang is just crying incessantly about something that is probably about their previous failure. You think, it's really hard to tell what he's like going on about. But however, he remembers that all of a sudden that they have another Mutastone, and the one thing that I wanted to mention here is that, and I think I might mention it later, I can't remember, and if I do, we'll talk about it, but I just wanted to briefly address it. Krang refers to Shredder as Sawaki-chan. And if you're not familiar, in Japan, like a formality of, or maybe not a formality, but like when you're familiar, a familiarity with people that like close, like I could call you Ryan-kun, and like it would be like, I'd probably say Rai-kun. And that just shows that we're close, and I can shorten your name and add kun to it, Kun. And if you identify as female, generally, like that goes with I think the appropriation, or the term, it would be Chan, Chan, and Krang is referring to Shredder all throughout the last episode and this episode as Sawaki-chan, which I think is a dig, because Shredder keeps getting mad about it. He's just like, I told you like not to call me by that name. And when I did a little bit of research on this, I believe that there are the Shredder's name Saki in Japanese is actually feminine, if I'm not mistaken. And so this is some sort of play on that, where they're making a joke about that. And which is kind of neat. Interesting. Yeah. And so I was fascinated by that. But it's hard to tell, especially when you're dealing with like translations, and like this is a fan sub, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of things that could like get crossed up. So anyway, but yeah, Krang finally stops crying because he remembers that they found a Mutastone. They found another one, and Shredder, he calls him the name, and Shredder's like, "Don't call me that," and stuff. Then Shredder keeps like he's like so emotionally distraught here, because as soon as Shredder realizes that that Krang has mentioned that, oh, you stopped crying because you remembered you found the Mutastone, and you want me to go find a Mutastone again? Do you remember what it did the last time we had this? Like, and I love that because you just think that, oh, it's a power up, like you're good and you're just same person. But no, Shredder's telling us right here that it altered his body as it pleased, which is super dark. Like, was not expecting that angle.
Yeah.
You know? Not
He's
at
like,
all.
I'm not in control of this.
Right. Like it basically possessed him. And I think that's amazing. And the fact that he's like not wanting to do it again, I'm super all about that.
Oh yeah.
So
that's pretty great.
So Krang's belligerent. He's just like, shut your mouth. Go get the Mutastone. Go get it. And they just keep going back and forth about like how annoying Krang's voice is. But
yeah,
I actually like Krang's voice. It is annoying, but like, I don't know.
It is hyper. In the first episode, the first like few scenes with him were hyper annoying to me. I was like, I even texted you, but I was like, I'm like 5 minutes into this.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
I can't do Krang. Like, it's killing me. He gets better later.
Yeah.
He starts off annoying, but he gets a lot better for some reason.
He does. And so then we cut to a bullet train where we find our protagonists, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, their friend April, and their sensei Splinter. They are on this bullet train, and they're passing by Mount Fuji. Now here's your girl April, Ryan, doing what I know you love to see her do. She's getting that footage, man. Like, she has that handycam ready, and
she's being a news reporter. She's all about it.
Now, I kind of miss the cameras that had the trigger on them. Like, at least I think that was a thing. That was a thing, right? Like, that was legit, right? Like a trigger on the handle? Or was that all fiction?
That comes... No.
Okay,
Eric,
okay.
All Super 8 cameras, for the most part, had triggers.
Oh, okay.
They were battery operated, and that would turn the film, and it was seen as a more compact way of doing it.
Right.
You could, and then later on they made cameras like video cameras that had triggers for start.
Right.
But eventually that moved to like this.
Yeah.
Like almost all cameras, like they were like handheld camcorders.
Right.
But at first, like some of the earliest VHS like cameras were built in the same frame as the old Super 8 film cameras.
Oh, okay.
And they had triggers and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, because this kind of plays to her old toy that had the gun camera. You know what I'm saying?
Ah, yes, the camera that's also a gun.
Also a gun. Yeah. Anyway. So and the turtles are, the animation's gorgeous throughout this whole thing. And there's comments made about how, like, someone said that, like, it's not going to be a fun trip, like, sarcastically, like, this is amazing, like, we're enjoying ourselves. Splinter's just meditating on the train, as you do. He's like, no, this certainly will not be a fun trip, because it just doesn't happen every day when Hattori Kinzu from Shinobi Village asks us for help. And he pulls out this blue kind of like scroll, and it's a letter saying that, Master Splinter, like, we need some help with some stuff, so can you come to Japan, essentially, is what it says. And so that is we're gonna touch back on that in a minute, because as this is happening on the roof of the train, well, I guess, the roof of the train, that works. A portal opens up, and it deposits our antagonist, Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady. And I love how Krang just so haphazardly just throws them, like, just everywhere. Like, I love that it's not...
Yeah.
Because we'll see later that Krang has the ability to make it to where it's not, like, the portal doesn't open horizontally, that it can open vertically like a door. But... And I didn't realize that until this moment, that that's a thing that he's probably doing. Like, it's one of those subtle things that he's doing to get back at them, and I love it so much. So they fall. Actually, I'm sorry, they don't fall on the roof of the train. That's a little bit later. They fall on the train tracks, but nevertheless they fall flat on the ground, and the train is coming right at them, and it, like, kind of just hits them, and they end up somehow, like, going, like, the train passes them by after it hits them, and it sends them flying backwards or forwards. Anyway, sends them past the window where April is filming Mount Fuji, and she's able to witness Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady. It's hilarious, and
I'll see him.
they all see him, and that's just great. You're just enjoying like a train ride, and all of a sudden your arch nemesis is just fly by you, like in comedic fashion. Love that. And they're complaining because they're like, God, for God's sake, I wish this were an illusion. And so the turtles know what to do.
Like, this is annoying.
Yeah, they're like, good God, can we just go without Shredder for like one day? But the turtles know what to do, and Ryan, that's yell turtle power, and they head off down. Yeah, they head off down the corridor to presumably get onto the roof of the train to kind of figure out, assess the situation, essentially. So eventually, Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady, they find a way to make it to the to where they can hold onto the train, and they get up above a car. And it's so windy that they're kind of like in between the cars. They kind of just like are hanging on the edge of it, or the roof of it, and they're trying to figure out like, why are they here? Like, what are they doing? They don't know anything. Like, Krang just literally threw them out here, and the turtles show up and see the bad guys, and they're like, Shredder, how can you follow us this far to Japan? And they're like so angry. The turtles are like livid. Like
he's like, what?
Yeah. He doesn't even know.
What did you say? Where are we at?
Yeah, he's so perplexed by this because they're in the dark too. And then he's like, oh, Japan. So this is my hometown, hometown, Japan, and
I just want that shirt.
Yeah,
I just want that on a shirt. This is my hometown, Japan.
It's so good, and I love, this is what I love about anime and manga and all this, because they could take this villain whose design looks evil as shit, like he looks menacing, and they humanize him and make him like have some emotion,
really,
and
like. Yeah, really like contemplative, and
Oh yeah. And I'm like a huge fan of this. So at this point, the breeze like just knocks Shredder like flat on his back. Like he just flies back because it's so windy up there. And he hits like some part of the train that's raised, I guess, like the tail part. I don't really know that much about trains. And so anyway, Bebop and Rocksteady are not having the turtles and the wind, whoever, disgracing Shredder, their boss. So Bebop and Rocksteady do what they do best, or one of the things they do best, or at the very least, Ryan, one of the things they look the coolest doing, and that's blasting. You know, when they're blasting dudes.
So I just started blasting.
It just started blasting.
So I just started blasting.
And and this is really cool because you don't see the turtles too often running from blasts, but you get to see Leonardo, and the other turtles do too, but Leo gets like a few more frames of him like leapfrogging essentially away from these laser blasts, and it's pretty funny, and I don't know, I enjoyed it, but and I enjoy any time really that Bebop and Rocksteady, especially when they're portrayed as the buffoonish versions of them, that they can get like the upper hand on the turtles sometimes. I always like that. And this is kind of neat. So then Ryan, and you and I have been on a train at least a handful of times, I imagine, not together, but like, or I'm assuming, have you ever been on a train?
I think the only train I've ever been on is the one at Wizarding World. Like the train that goes between the two parts of the Harry Potter place. Yeah, I don't think I've been on a train.
Well,
I mean, I've been on like the at Disney. Like I've been on like at the airport. I've been on those, but I can't say I've ever been on like, man, like we're going to another city on a train. Like I've never been like on a passenger train.
Oh, okay,
like that's going to commute, like a commuter train.
Right, that has like track. Well, I guess all of them have tracks, but yeah, a commuter train, that or a mass transit kind of thing. Well, I guess that's what the ones at Disney.
Yes, like an Amtrak. I've never been on an Amtrak. Like buy a ticket to go to another place on this train. I've never been on that. No.
Okay, see, I would have thought you would have totally done that for some reason. Like that's just one of those things that. See, I would have never thought you were an equestrian at one point in your life, but then you totally were.
Oh, I was.
And then yes. And then, but see, I was on the other side here. But yeah, no, I totally have. I've been on an Amtrak, and because we like the town I live in is very much like that kind of transit was like crucial for the town for in the beginning of it, and so I guess they have in the next town over.
So when you founded Plant City,
right? When I founded
it,
always on the train.
Yeah.
and had a little hat and everything. And but I still used the Green Ranger's flute to signal everything. But
Yep.
but nevertheless, in the town that's 7 minutes away, they actually have an Amtrak station there too. And it kind of, back in the day when I was in elementary school, they would have us go on a field trip just to see the train and like do all
that's
that.
kind of cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
run back and forth.
Exactly.
That's all right.
And I got to ride on it with I think my mom went with me. And
That's
it was
cool.
neat. It was neat. And their Amtrak, for those who don't know, is just a fast passenger train, and they're the ones that you always want to get stopped by if you're going to get stopped by any train, because if it says CSX, you're going to be there for a while. But the one problem that, thankfully on my trip it didn't happen, but there is a huge problem with trains and Ninja, that like you'll just be on a train just going somewhere, and then all of a sudden Ninja, and then you got to deal with that. And and so that this is what happens here.
The top biggest problems with trains. Number one is Random Ninja.
Random Ninja.
Number two is a murder on it.
Right. And
like a murder on a long train ride. That's
right.
a problem.
That's a problem.
The third problem is Snowpiercer.
Yes.
Like,
you don't want that.
If you wind up like I'm in the back of the train, I'm being used for slave labor.
Right.
They sell us to the front of the train. I'm gonna fight my way to the front of the train. You never want to be there. So the Snowpiercer can happen on a train. And then the last thing that can happen is you can meet a stranger on the train.
Right.
And if you meet a stranger on the train who tells you he really hates someone in his life, and then wants you to maybe kill that person, in exchange, he'll kill the person you don't like. And then you're like, well, I wouldn't do that. And then that person you don't like winds up dead, and he comes back and goes, I did my part.
Right.
That can happen on a train.
That can happen on a train. That wasn't
That's the strangers on a train situation.
Exactly. And like
there's the girl on the train.
Yeah.
That can happen.
Girl totally can happen. Yep. And so like, and you mentioned this, and a lot of people think that that's just like folklore and like, just fiction, but because they saw, because Thomas the Tank Train Engine has had an episode dealing with all of those issues that you mentioned. So people think that that's like
I forgot about one of the worst things that can happen on a train.
Was that
is Blaine. Blaine's a pain. Yep, that's from Dark Tower.
Oh my god.
Don't get on Blaine.
Okay.
He's a bad train. That can happen to you. So don't get on Blaine.
He's a
if
bad
you get on a
train.
If you get on a train, he is. He
okay.
Really is. If you get on a train
and
it's got AI, well, that's kind of cool. And he starts asking you riddles, get off.
Yeah, get off. Yeah. Also, if the train is purple and gray,
get off train.
If the train is purple and gray, it might be Astro Train, so therefore it's a Decepticon. So you probably don't want to mess with that either.
That's probably the next thing. You need to look for the Decepticon logo.
That's true. Now, if you get on a train and it has these demons on it, like Jin or like whatever, you might be on Kamen Rider Deno's train, and that's going to be a lot more fun. Even though you're going to be going through time, but it's still going to be a lot of fun. They're the fun kind of demons.
Well, the problem with some trains to sneak up on you. Like for example.
True.
You could just be like, you could just walk into like a warehouse, for example, and everyone's dancing, and then they dance in a big line, and you're next,
right?
And that's when you're on Soul Train.
You're on Soul Train, right? And then if
you didn't even go to the train station for that.
You don't.
And that can happen. Soul Train.
That can happen anywhere.
You walk in and they're dancing, and like Elton John's there, and you're like, what? And then everyone lines up in a thing, and people start dancing down a line, and then all of a sudden you're up.
Yep.
Everyone's clapping. You have to do it.
You have to do it.
You're not going to do it.
Yeah, you can't just not. You
that's
have to do
Soul
something.
Train.
Yeah,
that's when you got a Soul Train. That's a problem.
It is a problem. It's a good problem, but it's still it's a problem with like your anxiety and all that stuff, because it's a lot of pressure. But
if you go missing, then someone write a song called "Runaway Train."
Runaway Train. That's true. There's
Runaway Train. That's a problem.
There is.
There's the Band Train.
Oh, that's a bigger problem. Definitely a bigger problem.
That's a bigger problem. There's the HVAC manufacturer train.
Yeah.
I think my AC is a train. It is a train.
Is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know what my AC is, but yeah, those are some very valid train situations that happen, and all of them.
You don't really want to get involved in any of those.
No,
well,
absolutely
maybe Soul
not.
Train.
Soul Train's cool.
It depends on if that's your thing. Definitely not Train the Band.
No,
definitely not Blaine.
Yeah, no.
And definitely not Strangers on a Train. That's what I watch out for the most.
Oh yeah. So
I want to get that.
But in any of those situations, you're probably not wanting a ninja to appear. And I would say
No.
unfortunately, but like for us,
No.
unfortunately for the passengers of this train, a ninja appears. But fortunately for us, we get to witness all the hijinks and everything. So
Yeah.
this mysterious, for the moment, ninja appears, Ryan. And all of a sudden, where one ninja, there are multitude. And so, these ninja start unloading on Bebop and Rocksteady with their throwing stars. And Bebop and Rocksteady are just like, oh my God, they're real ninjas. And I was like, oh, interesting that they're saying real ninja. The wind again causes Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady to, and also the pursuit of the ninjas to fly even further off the train. And they're about to blast off again, essentially, is what happens. At this point, the ninja end up going on the train, like inside. And I love this. This is great. This is the subtle things that happen in anime that's really neat. We have a frame that looks like like you're looking through the camera lens, but not like in it like we did last time whenever Dark Devil Shredder showed up. But this is like through, like we're watching through April's point of view. And we see that this ninja, all decked out in blue, is Hitori Kinzu, and that he's here to welcome you, or us, presumably the Turtles, Splinter, April. And then she gets really excited too, and I can't remember if the Turtles were excited, but they say, wow, they're real ninja. And I'm kind of like, okay, so y'all are Ninja Turtles in name, like that's, this. And let's just say that let's say that you have some insecurity things where you feel like you're not a real ninja. Let's give you that. Sure. At the very least, your dad.
Full imposter syndrome. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. But your dad could totally be a ninja. Like I would consider Splinter a ninja, right? Or like maybe I'm getting my colloquialisms mixed up, but like I feel
he's a ninja master.
Right, exactly. So I feel like, and especially if he's getting a scroll from like a whole clan of ninjas that they need his help, like, come on. I mean, like, I don't know, but maybe I'm looking.
I feel like the TMNT probably feel like they've been granted membership on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of Ninja Master. Do you know what I'm saying? That Anakin shit.
I do.
That's how they feel.
Dang. Yeah.
Like I feel like, well, technically we've been taught in the sewers, and like, yeah, we've got all that, but we never got like certified. Like we've never been like given the rank. Like we're just fighting with it. So it's like these guys are real ninja. True. Like they've advanced through the program. Like they have their degree. Like I learned all my shit on YouTube, and I could do the same job you do, but I don't have a degree in it.
Right. Went to YouTube University to be a ninja, and that's what they do now. Like if they remake the Turtles and do the origin story again, oh yeah, it'd totally be like Splinter, like looking it up on the internet. Like watch these YouTube videos.
Oh yeah.
Which that's how I'd do it. But yeah, no, you have a very good point. Like that, I didn't think of it that way. I was thinking of it more of like they're just kind of like, I don't know. I guess I was looking for an offense there, but no, you're I like your point a lot better. But
they really are. Like I mean, that really does go back to like, I mean, like like they are like like Gaijin. They are outsiders. Like that's
that's another point I hadn't thought of yet.
But they are, because they're not even human, and they have not been officially trained. Like
that's true.
Like they're undocumented as far as like that goes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. So we get some funny stuff with Hitori saying that he's shy, which is kind of funny. And so right about this time, it gets to be nighttime, and we're at the Shinobi Village, which was our destination all along. And we see a ninja jump from the trees, and we hear like two people speaking and stuff like that. And these two people end up being Splinter and Hitori Kinzu. And Hitori Kinzu explains that to Splinter that this thing that they're looking at is the mirror guardian of their village. It is the legendary mirror that possesses the strongest and the greatest power. In case you were wondering which mirror it is, it's the one that possesses the greatest and the strongest power. So
it's not like the third or fourth ranked power.
Precisely.
Not like
it is the strongest.
Yeah, we're not going great value mirror. It's the strongest and most powerful mirror.
Right, strongest and greatest. That's it.
And great. And that's why you get paid the big bucks.
That's true, indeed. And so Splinter deduces that someone's trying to steal said mirror, and he's correct, which is why Hitori Kinzu wants their assistance. The Turtles in April, then ponder, like, you know, obviously someone's trying to steal this. I wonder who it could be. And they're like, could it be Shredder and the Foot Clan? Which I love that they refer to him as the Foot Clan and not just Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady and Krang. Like, I love that they bring in the Foot Clan element of that. Because that's the one thing I hated, that they kind of got rid of all the foot soldiers in the animated series eventually. And so I love that they kind of, at least in name alone, bring them up here.
Well, making them robots like defeated the whole point.
It did.
Like,
it did.
Hate
I
to
totally
say
agree.
it, but it defeated the whole
true.
point, and it wasn't good. Like it sucked. When they're robots, they go clang and they go away.
Exactly. And so I agree. So yeah, let's see here. So then Don asks to observe the mirror. And he's wanting to, you know, take a look at it. He's got some suspicions because, I mean, he does machines, and I mean, a mirror is not necessarily a machine, but it does do something. So, I mean, it's, you know, kind of in the same vicinity. Who knows? Donatello's just inquisitive. So he picks up the mirror, and Kinzu-kun says that he basically explains, let's see, he tells us that they are the sources for great power, Magatamas, Magatamas. And furthermore, it's been told that once upon a time, our ancestors, probably theirs, not mine and yours, but our ancestors had polished 7 stones and turned them into Magatamas, and then inlaid them onto the mirror. Donnie asks, "What's its name in Japanese?" And like, well, what's the name of these stones? Like, can you give me a little bit more information? Because I feel like there's something here. Turns out, Ryan, the stones have 4 different names: beauty, strength, peace stone, I guess, and it is also known as the Miyu Tai Shi, which sounds like Mutashi, aka Mutastone. Yeah. Did you see that coming, Ryan?
Yeah, I did.
So, all right.
I did.
So, yeah. So these are the Mutastones. So, at this point, Kinzu-kun pulls back some doors and presents each honorable turtle with some ninja armor. And yeah, the one thing I do have to say as a slight, but kind of really, they can't help it because it's not really, it's indicative of the time and kind of the medium. But like a lot of this, the footage from this is, or can be, a little murky. And I don't know if that's like with age. I don't think it is. I think it's just like the way that they made animation.
It was
back
a style.
then.
It was
and
a style.
So
yeah.
And I'm curious if it's because like this looked better on like the CRTVs back then. Like somehow like the animation had to look a certain way for that they couldn't do it a certain way, and technology hadn't advanced. Who knows? And like you're saying, it could also be the style, but it's kind of hard to really make out what this armor necessarily is. But essentially, it looks like a chest, like a chest piece that has one strap over one shoulder, and then like some knee pads and elbow pads, and like that's pretty much it. Like, am I missing something here?
No, that's it.
Okay, good. Thank you for clearing that up.
No, it doesn't look like anything that crazy.
Right. So it doesn't look like anything that crazy. However, Ryan, Splinter begs to differ. Because your boy is blown out. He is like, oh my, like not just like a you know, George Takei. Oh my, like he is like mouth agape and just losing his shit over this. And I'm wondering if this has something to do with him knowing like about this stuff. Like, I don't know. I could read a lot of like things into
Probably, yeah.
But it's really neat that like seeing Splinter get excited is always fun. And so the turtles then don these armors, and they're all excited. They're, you know, thinking they look cool. And they not only do they think that, April even confirms that by filming this and saying that they look so cool.
Yeah.
So at this point, we cut to our antagonists, Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady, and they are making their way in the woods, in the forest, walking around, and they're talking to Krang, trying to figure out like if the Mutastones are further down this road. Like, are you sure? Like, and they're questioning Krang, which because he's kind of crazy anyway. So of course, like it'd question him, and Krang's just like sure that Krang's just like sure, hurry the hell up. Just it doesn't matter. Just go get him. Just do it. Whatever. So they're making their way towards Shinobi Village, and at this point, it's been a while. So the Turtles, April, Kinzu-kun, and Splinter are all passed out on the floor because they've been so overcome with like excitement about the armor and the Mutastones and all this stuff that they're just knocked out on the floor. No mats, no nothing, and this is how you can tell, like you mentioned earlier, that Splinter's taking a nap, a 30-minute or a 3-hour nap. If his legs are crossed and his arms are in his gi and he's sitting on the ground, that's a 3-hour nap. If he's in his chair upright with his feet out and he's just like hanging out like with his arms on the armrest, that's a 30-minute nap for Splinter. Yeah.
Yep.
So they're just chilling, and all of a sudden, and I was not expecting this at all. Like and that's the beauty of this. You never know what's going to happen. So the Turtles start waking up. Leo and Don, I believe, wake up first, and they wake up to the sound of laughter, and they're like, "Who could be laughing at this like early hour in the morning?" And Donatello makes a joke about, "Is this what Japanese alarm clocks sound like?" Which would be hilarious. But no, unfortunately, it's not an alarm clock, Ryan. It is a apparition, a ghost, a spirit, if you will.
It is.
And this is the spirit. Let me see if I can get his name right. The apparition takes its form as Yukimura. Yukimura. You might be asking, who is Yukimura? And like we were when we saw this, Kinzu-kun comes in and he explains that let's see, so he is known as the vengeful ghost of fear, who's also known as the world's worst of the worst. Like just this is the worst thing. Like we went through all the worst train situations.
You're a rotten dude.
This is the worst ghost situation, apparently. And at this time, Bebop and Rocksteady and Shredder just barge in, and they're like, "Give us the stones. This is what we want. We're here for this. Like, what's going on?" And they're like, what? Shredder's just beside himself because I don't know. He's just wild. So the Turtles, they're all up at this point, and they're still seeing the ghost laughing, and it's like this big standoff. So they have a fight. Shredder tries to just like walk in and just like kind of like Bushwhacker style, just like go in and like get the right. He's like, I'm gonna get this stuff.
We're gonna go get it. Yeah.
And so Kinzu-kun at this point, while that tussle's going on, he jumps behind the shrine that the mirror was on, and he lifts the top and it has a chain on it, and he pulls it, and all of a sudden this explosion happens, and you're like, what? Like, what in all of Acme is this? Like, is this going to be some Wile E. Coyote kind of thing? Like, what's happening here? And so at this point where you're still asking like, what's going on? Then you see all the turtles hit the ground, and they're all like, knocked out. And then I loved this line from Splinter where he's like, "What in the world have you done, Kinzu? Like, what just happened?" Kinzu tells Master Splinter to turn around and look. Turn around, kind of like that. And there's a hidden. He's like, "This is the hidden fortress of Shinobi Village," and like, what? Like, okay,
yeah,
that was just like,
I was like, okay.
Underground. Just underground. Just here you go. Pull a chain. There you go.
Yeah.
Hidden fortress, no longer hidden. So yeah, that's.
I just love how like at no point ever in the history of Shinobi Village,
right,
have they ever needed to use this more than now.
Right, more than now, like this moment.
So when like World War II was happening,
right,
and we're in Japan. And we're at the monastery, we're at the little fort, and things turn the wrong way.
Right.
And they start dropping leaflets like, "We're going to nuke some shit." And you're like, ooh, you didn't pull the chain? Like,
nope.
Like, I feel like during like the various revolutions, we never pulled the chain.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
we
No.
never,
Yeah.
We did it now. I feel like that chain's been pulled.
Exactly. Yeah, it has to be. Has to have been.
At some point.
Yeah, you would think, but we'll get there. So
there's a lot of times in history where you would pull the chain.
Absolutely.
And not now.
Yeah, so I guess
go
the
ahead.
combination of seeing like, some mutants and then seeing a laughing ghost showing up, that kind of broke Kinzu-kun. And so
A little bit.
yeah. So Yukimura shows up again and he starts laughing. He kind of looks like he's got a cigarette in his mouth in this image, like he's just hanging out. But he's laughing and just pointing up like a video game character that's telling you where to go. And so Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady just like book it, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get that personal pan pizza up at the top of that thing." And so they're reading every book. And so they take off just straight up the fortress, and at this point the turtles are like, all right, well, there's no time for us to be impressed by this this massive building that just appeared. Let's go after the bad guys. So they also follow suit with Kinzu-kun and and his ninja. Which, where were they when Shredder broke in? Like, where were those ninja at that point? Anyway, so they're climbing up, and so this is where Kinzu-kun explains that he says the 7 Mayutashi, which is the Mutastones, are double-edged swords. Which by that I think he means that like there's good and bad, like they
can go both ways. They're not like the regular Mutastones where like they're good or they're bad.
Right.
These are like pack of nerds. You can get grape or you can get the strawberry. Either one.
Exactly. And so the turtles are like, oh, okay, cool. They're listening. And then all of a sudden Leonardo's like, hey, this is a castle. Like, shouldn't you have stairs inside?
This was kind of ridiculous to me.
It was.
Yeah, this was pretty funny.
It was. And so Kinzu-kun just starts calling himself a dumb shit. And he's just like, oh, dumb shit. What a dumb shit. And at least if I remember, that's him saying that.
No.
That's not him saying that?
No.
That's the turtle saying that.
No. This is no.
That's not.
This is where shit gets real weird.
Okay.
It's the crow says it.
I forgot about the crow.
The crow in frame comes by caulking like gawk, 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 and it translates. It has a voice actor that also says like words that sound like squawks, and then it says dumb shit. What a dumb shit.
I forgot
it's
about
the
crow that's
saying
right there,
that, which is why it's so weird.
Yeah, I totally forgot. Looking at it now, I totally forgot the crow was there. But yeah, that makes it so good. That is perfect. Yeah, because I remember weird. I loved this, but I couldn't remember if he was saying that. But no, you're absolutely right. That's what that was. And so, they're like, he just stops dead in his track, Kinzu-kun does. And so, the turtles are like, did we like insult him really bad? Well, he ends up getting his composure and he tells the turtles to go inside using the stairs, and he's going to continue going forward up the mountain or up the castle. So up at the top, we see that Yukimura is up there finally pointing at the mirror, the Mutastones.
Yep.
That's on like the tail of some fish statue. And Bebop and Rocksteady, Shredder get up there first, and then they're greeted by Kinzu-kun, also who appear like shortly thereafter before they could acquire the mirror. They just happen to have a ton of duplicate mirrors in their back pockets, I guess, and they throw them all up in the air. They just yeet them up.
It's a pretty good tact, man.
It is. It's great.
I gotta admit.
Which means they thought ahead.
Pretty good tact.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah.
So now the Shredder and Bebop and Rocksteady are calling them dumb shits because they're upset that like they're not gonna be able to find the mirror. Jump back down to inside the castle. Krang just opens a portal, like just straight up opens a portal, showing that he has the ability to do it like tactfully, and gets in the way of the turtles.
He do it wherever he wants. Yeah.
Right. So in Thanos style, he kind of was like, I got sick of waiting, so I decided to do it. Might as well do it myself. The turtles just laugh and they just breeze right past him. Like no regard for him whatsoever. And so that gets us back up to the roof. So Shredder and Bebop, everyone's still looking for these mirrors. They can't find it. They say, shit, where's the real one?
Yeah, where's the real one? That was so funny. When I read that, I was like, this show's crazy.
Yeah. And so
this show's crazy.
Again, Yukimura finds the real one and he starts pointing at it.
Yeah.
At this point, Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady get the mirror and they use the Mutastones. And they summon forth these guardian beasts that come from Mount Fuji. And one of them ends up being a multi-headed snake. Another one is a fish. Looks like a devilfish or something. Yeah.
He says whale when he attacks.
Oh, a whale. Okay,
whale.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
some kind of like whale.
Yeah, that could
thing.
be. And then you're absolutely right. He does say that. I guess my thing is that sometimes they in
No.
in Sentai and stuff like that,
Yeah.
they'll say things like that, but it'll be just tangentially related to it. So I wasn't sure, but you're right. It is huge though, so it could be a whale. And then there's a white tiger Zord that basically appears. And they all look pretty neat. Like I was pretty impressed by this. The turtles show up just in time to see this happen, and
Damn it.
yeah, they're like, okay, what's gonna happen? Well, hold on, baby bird, it's about to happen. Not only do those monsters appear like as their animal forms, but then they combine with let's see, I think that is, let's see, I wrote it down in my notes somewhere, but I believe Bebop gets
that's Bebop.
Bebop gets the fish whale, Rocksteady gets the snake armor, and
The Hydra, or whatever that thing is.
right, and Shredder gets the white tiger Zord, which I
White claw. No laws when you're wearing the claws.
Right.
That's what your boy Shredder says.
So, and I guess I don't have a picture of that. Oh yeah, I do. It's up here. Right there it is, right there. So he looks awesome. Now these are at least Shredder and some of the other ones they have toys of these. These are the toys we talked about earlier. That this is what this line is based on, and they look cool as hell. Those toys, like they're vac metal and stuff. Anyway, so the turtles, Kinzu-kun, and the ninjas, and the Bebop and Rocksteady mutated. They're all up here, and so they still they still have to find the mirror. Like the mirror is like still in play, but like the Bebop, Rocksteady, and Shredder are mutated, and so they they're so like all this fighting starts happening, and Kinzu-kun is like, I'm gonna look for the mirror, but like you guys need to buy me some time. Like you got to keep these guys distracted, and so while this is happening, let's see, Kinzu-kun, he says that there's still hope to summon the good guardians. So the baddies attack with the turtles and with their ultimate moves, and this puts all the turtles on their shells. Like this is just like turtles are getting beat up like nobody's business. And
They are.
but nevertheless, this still just then the mirror flies into the air because the ultimate moves have just like caused like all this mass destruction, and it is caught by Krang, who wants to just like leave, and it's like, all right guys, let's go, like we did what we got what we came for, let's go,
we won, let's go.
But Shredder can't leave the power behind, kind of like like in that song on Spinal Tap, he can't leave that behind,
like Big Bottoms. How can I leave this behind?
Like Shredder's just like that. So and I love this, the Shinobi Ninja just like gang up on Krang and just mount him. And I love it so much. Then Kinzu-kun just jumps up and he takes the mirror, and Krang calls him a damn thief.
He's like, that's mine.
And so this was one of my favorite things, Ryan. I loved this so much. So Kinzu-kun takes the mirror from Krang, tells the turtles to recite the letters that show up on the surface, namely the spell of hope. Thankfully, the letters are in both Japanese and English, and Leonardo responds with, once he realizes that, he goes, "What a generous mirror," and that cracked me up so much just hearing him say, "What a generous mirror." So
what a generous mirror.
So then, so at this point, the same thing with the bad guys. Mount Fuji provides 4 new metal guardian beasts in the way of Leo's Dragon. Let's see if I can find it. So there's Mount Fuji. Leo's Dragon. Let's see. We have the Phoenix for Raphael. Then we have, what was Donatello's? The Griffin. Donatello got a Griffin. And then Mikey got a crab, which is strange, but hey, it works. Then, in typical fashion for this stuff, Kinzu-kun shows up and he says, "You've got 6 minutes," just like Splinter did with the little the hourglass. And so they fight, and it's like Shredder's like, "What?" Like now he realizes they're at a disadvantage because they've been mutated for all this whole time. So Mikey unleashes his move, which is Beef B-Tonic, which is strange. Donnie unleashes Dark Killer Whale. No, excuse me, that's not Donnie. That is Bebop doing that.
Bebop does his same attack he did earlier again in the middle of all this. The Dark Killer
Right.
killer whale wave.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Raph does a Phoenix Bomber. They're running away. Kinzakun's running away with the mirror. A lot of stuff's happening, and then eventually you've got Shredder and Leo's two things fighting, two powers fighting. And Leo's about to get overcome by the force of Shredder's like might. And then Ryan, the time is up.
Yes.
And they they just pop off the armor.
Oop.
Yeah,
Yep.
I loved it
Yep.
so much. And so they're like, all right, well,
Time's
we're gonna
up.
leave. They're like, we're gonna leave. So they run through the portal, and the turtles are excited at a mission complete. So they they realize, they're like, what happened to Yukimura and stuff, and they just realize that I guess they think that Japanese ghosts just give up easily. So there's that. So then presumably the next day they're celebrating still, or maybe it's evening, or maybe time is weird here.
This felt like it was right afterwards because they're like still up there.
It did, but it talked about like breakfast. They're making breakfast jokes. However, I guess the thing could be that they were woken because Yukimura was laughing, which woke the turtles up, which
like
hour,
in the early morning.
Yeah, so it's probably still just morning, but it's still very confusing. And anyway, but we look at the mirror where there was let's see, 7 stones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Now there's
7,
only 4. You math on the mic.
You basically counted
I counted
to 7 on the mic.
I did, but that's the only way that you can ensure that you're going to get it right. So, but yeah, there's 4 stones left.
You just don't see 3, 3, and 1. Like when you look at that image, you don't see 3, 3, and 1, and 7.
I do, but I also second guess everything. So like I see that and I need to confirm what is it? Confirm but verify. Yeah. So
trust
but verify. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. So you see 3 holes missing at the bottom, which is presumably where Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady took their Mutastones.
Yeah.
You still have the 4. But they're like, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. But all of a sudden things start to shake, Ryan. The foundation starts to get a little wobbly, and at this point everyone's up. Bebop or Shredder, goodness, Splinter, April, the Turtles, all the Shinobis are up there. Everyone's up there. Turns out though, this whole thing's shaken because this hidden fortress happens to be very flimsy, and
that made no sense to me because they were up there dropping like hot fire, like atomic bomb, like killer whale blasts on each other, and the building was fine.
Right.
And then they were hanging out, and literally at the end, it falls.
Right.
The building actually like pancake collapses.
Right.
And they're like, woohoo. And watching this with my daughter, she goes, oh God, are they okay? And I'm like, yeah. Because the song comes on, it's like, go, go, turtles. And she's like, what? And I'm like, oh no, that's supposed to be funny because like the turtles survive all kind of dumb shit. And she's oh, okay.
Yeah, and so
I was like, yeah, no, it's like really odd that it falls like that.
It's very strange. And then and they're on the roof, and April's up there. So like, it's kind of crazy.
No, I mean, hope April can survive that fall.
You would think
she's just a person.
I mean, she is just a person. Now. We know that the turtles.
It's not for her to determine.
It's not. It's not. But we know that the turtles can survive a 3-hour death fall to the Technodrome,
of course,
as evidenced in season 1 of their animated series. But that is the saga of the Superman legend and all that fun stuff for the Mutastones. And so real quick, what did you think about this next episode of this?
I thought it was good. I don't know if it was good as the first one.
Okay.
I like the Chris Moo and Dark Moo stuff. I thought that made it kind of cool. Here it's a little bit more like we're still doing Mutastones. The whole like Shinobi Village thing, like stuff like that just felt like it was cool. It was a cool episode. I think that it was kind of cool more for the effects of it all because everyone gets to like super mutate. And that's kind of cool. Everyone gets new outfits, like the metal mutations line, and and that was really cool. I think I like the humor in the first episode a little more. But I think this one visually was better. So I think that's kind of a trade-off.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, it's weird because I still viewed them similarly, like as like a cohesive unit. But you do have a point that the humor was there definitely in the first one, and I don't know. I enjoyed them both, but this one did feel a little tacked on. But I wonder if that's because we still had the meta knowledge, and also like at the beginning they showed the intro that had a lot of the stuff that happened leading up to kind of like a so basically like you were saying, like in the intro stuff.
Yeah.
So we got a little bit of what happened in the manga going into that continuation for the OVA, that first episode. So I felt like that might have been giving it a disadvantage or giving it an advantage. But as a whole, I enjoyed the hell out of this. I thought this was a lot of fun, and I would definitely pay money to see more of this.
Oh yeah, no, I've kind of you know, classic. Whenever we see like adventures, we go like, oh, like 87 animated series could have been a lot more like this, and then you see this, and you're like,
Right.
oh, like, 87 animated series was like more like this, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I feel like these different interpretations of the turtles in that cartoon universe always kind of make us long for like the grass is greener a little bit, and I definitely
Right.
felt that way here. I like the humor here. I liked how kind of crazy they all were.
Yeah.
And honestly, if the universe is going to be ridiculous and whatever, this felt a lot more refreshing than the kind of the drone you get with the animated series, where it's
Oh,
like,
definitely.
boom, 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 hey April, what's going on? Like it's just
Yeah.
like it just, you know, like that music that would come on all the time. You're like,
Mhm.
man. Like
Yeah.
it would get kind of tired, and so I think it's cool to see a new fresh take.
Absolutely.
Did you want to go ahead and just bonus content the soundtrack right here on the end of this bad boy?
Yeah.
Um I don't think it's
So
deserving of its own like video segment.
no.
'Cause it's
I
so
think
small.
yeah, no. The soundtrack was neat. Like it was neat because it has like it has a thing about it that definitely sounds like it's time for like what I've heard of other things from its time. But
Yeah.
it definitely wasn't really my thing. Like I found it to be a little bit more annoying than anything on its own. Now in the actual
Yeah.
in the actual show, I thought it was great. Like I enjoyed it for what it was. But when you divorce the
Yeah.
two, I couldn't really get
Yeah.
behind it.
Well,
However,
the music. All right,
yeah.
go ahead.
Go no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The music's kind of old timey. Like
Mhm.
it is the best way I could put it for 1996. Like
Yeah.
it you think about like other contemporary stuff in 96 and like low fidelity all stars
Yeah.
like so people that were making music that was like kind of like sampled analog electronic kind of
Mhm.
style, like which is what this kind of goes for,
Right.
and it's so much more fresh, right? And this feels like it was made the same way they made soundtrack for cartoons forever. Like you feel like the
Right.
studio it was recorded in, the musicians playing it, the people arranging it, the guy singing on it, like
Right.
the whole thing was like almost like a pipeline back to like the 80s. Like is what it felt like. The all the production felt like, well, we don't need to buy new equipment. We just keep making these soundtracks.
Right.
It didn't feel very fresh to me, and the energy that you normally expect from a soundtrack like that was also not there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um
Yeah.
so
No,
yeah, but I mean the big facts on it was released by Columbia Records. It
right.
was released on March 20th, 1996, obviously in Japan only.
Mhm.
Um and it has the score from both episodes by composer Takashi Aiki. And yeah, it's got the opening theme, Power Up Turtles, and the closing theme. So
Right.
it's there, and if you want, I mean, it's one of those things you're not gonna know if you like it till you go listen to it. Obviously, like we can't be playing a bunch of it because that is someone
Right.
else's work.
Yeah.
Um, go check it out. Tell us more. I want you to tell us if you're like, no, this slaps. Y'all are
Yeah.
nuts. Like if anyone's got that take, if they're like, I'll
Well,
take the Pepsi challenge.
yeah.
I'll go do that. And you know what? This slaps.
Right.
Email me at
Yeah.
turtlesoupshow
At-
at gmail.com. I want to say, hey Ryan,
right.
this shit slaps. I need your bullet points. And I
Right.
will read that and we will talk about that because
No.
I want to hear that, right?
Yeah.
Because it just to me, yeah, it was a little annoying to listen to. Honestly, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. And the songs though with actual lyrics that I believe are done by let's see if I can do this here. Hironobu Kageyama. I believe that like if he had a say in any of this, that I think he might be someone who has like a pedigree or like that came from like an old school way of thinking
Yeah.
where it's like this. He might have
Oh,
done
for
shows
sure.
like in the 80s or the 70s. And
Yeah.
it was just a mainstay where they're like, well, let's get him on here and do this. And that he's got a
for
fan
sure.
base that will buy the record and stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that. So
He's doing his thing.
yeah.
And that's no slight on anybody that was involved in the soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
Obviously,
no.
Like I've
But
said, I mean, we're both musicians and we
Mhm.
appreciate the hell of it. Wasn't what I was looking for, but like, yeah, no doubt about the musicianship.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's all there for
right.
sure.
It's all out there.
But
Well,
it does harken back to an older time.
it does.
For
It
sure.
totally does. Absolutely does. Well, guys, if you would let us know, we want to know what you think about this. Like, did you love like
That's what I
the
said.
OVA? Like, did you love the music? Like, yeah, like
Yeah.
Ryan was saying, like, email us turtlesoupshow@gmail.com.
Yeah.
You can also
Let
go to
us
the home.
know. We'll hit it back up.
You can go to the home of the internet, turtlesoupshow.com. You can also go
The home.
You can also go to YouTube YouTube, and let us know here in the comments. Like, subscribe, and do all that fun stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
We
Do all that.
appreciate that. Go to Facebook group, find us talking on there about all kinds of turtle stuff, and that's a lot of fun. And then if you're listening to the podcast version of this, wherever you're listening to us, please rate, review, subscribe. That still helps us out a lot, and we sincerely appreciate that. If you want to go the extra mile, though, you can always do that by going to patreon.com, find Turtle Soup's Done Been Making a Podcast, and you can throw some pennies our way to help ensure that we can go on vacation like the foot soldiers do, but mostly that we can bring the soup to you every week without saying claim.
Yeah.
You know, and that you can count on us, and we can thank you for your support, and we sincerely do, because we wouldn't be here without the patrons. So there you go. So I think that's is that everything? I think that's everything. So
That's all of it.
alrighty. Well, else time.